video. It's the
All right, we
music.
live, we live, we live, we live. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Man Cave Sundays. You know how we do it on Man Cave Sunday. We do a week in review and we talk about current issues that's in the community, anything progressive. But go ahead, Alan Brown. You got to get off fast. Get into this reparations thing, man. What happened at the reparations conference, brother? Go ahead.
I was watching the UN reparations conference, and you had Desmond Tutu, you had Kofi Annan, 6, 7 other brothers. One brother who did the scholarship on it, on the statistics on it, on how it affects people in America, etc., and the reason why. During the conference, they show you like the background. They show you the people like from different countries or European countries talking, and they're basically just straight up like, yes, we don't think that this is relevant. Yeah, we're open to listen to the conversation. So listening to how Desmond Tutu and the rest of them are talking to these people, they're talking to them about reconciliation, and we need to reconcile, and we can start with a simple apology. And I'm like, wow, you got all the way down here to talk soft to these people. And I couldn't understand it. But the overall conclusion is the United Nations agrees that the United States owes reparations to the people from the Holocaust here in America. Now, on the United States front, they not co-signing it. They not dealing with it. They like, yeah, whatever. But the council agrees that there's those human rights violations what took place and that they are still affected by us today. So later on, you have Farrakhan who comes on there, not during that specific thing, and he speaks. And the way that he's speaking, he's talking directly to the people who are on the conference. He bigged up the brother Watkins, I can't pronounce his name correctly, his doctor, on his scholarship on what he did. He talked about the need for people who do scholarship, and that the behind the scholarships, and those are the people that come after them, that they lay the foundation work down, and the workers or the laborers, those are the people that who should come behind it. He basically touched on just the tone and the way that you're going to talk to superpowers about something that should not have to even be talked about in a soft manner. And he's like, this is ridiculous. So in terms of our current president, he basically states that it is politically infeasible to give us here reparations. So I look at what he just did. He just gave $12.5 million to Israel for their reparations. He gave the Philippines, I can't get the exact number, money for their reparation. He just gave the Native Americans, signed in some other bill for them. So when I look at this, it's like, damn, you can give every single other person or people some kind of economic thing to help them get up from where they at. But when it comes to us here, it's like we don't have no friends nowhere, regardless if they look like us or they not. I mean, at least the people, they went there, they presented their case, the UN Security Council, they agreed to it. But this country is not rocking with it, and none of those other European countries are not rocking with it. And it seemed like all these people wanted was an apology. They are, we could start out with an apology. And I'm just sitting there appalled watching this. I'm like, wow, what is this, man? This is crazy. But yeah, that's my summary of what I just saw, and kind of bothered me a little bit. And it bothers me that no one is even talking about it, that no one talked about it. It's not even being talked about nowhere. Like, that's not even up for discussion. But yeah, that's what I got from it.
Because, bro, we got little Yachty and little Uzi Vert to talk about, bro.
We got what? He said Uzi.
We got little Yachty and little Uzi Vert to talk about. So, you know, that's that's why nothing important gets dealt with. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think that this is a conversation that it should be held more, because the country within itself, just the vastness or the impact of this stretches so far back, and it's not just America that's involved in this beneficiation of slave trade. Like if we look at the Berlin Conference in 1860 something or 70, if I'm correct, You got 14 European countries that's aligned with splitting up Africa. You got the Italians, you got the Portuguese who started it. All of these people have economies that were based off of this. So not only are we talking about the people here, we're talking about the people in the Disparia where we are at now, like in Brazil, which has the second biggest population of Africans there. We're talking about the places where we were dropped off at, all through the Caribbean. We're talking about Haiti, Puerto Rico, Cuba. We're talking about all of these different places where we are affected and those economies are affected, not only there, but even in West Africa. Then we look at today. We look at the banks we use. We look at JP Morgan. We look at Wachovia. We look at New York Life Insurance. We look at AIG. We look at Athena. All of these companies tell you, yeah, we had slaves. We did this. Yeah, we was on stock. We had these people on the stock market. And it's crazy. So in a way, it's like you kind of look at it like, yo, these people are not doing that. They don't care, and they're gonna do what they want to do. One, we don't have a strong enough lobby of people lobbying for this. I think that could be a case with it. And so more people get behind this and we see what can happen from it. Then you have the black people who will say, well, if we get the reparations, then all they're going to do is put the money back in the economy, which is true. That could be a possibility. The money is going to go back there, but it depends on where we want the money to go. We could put the money in the infrastructure. We could put the money into building up the communities and working with programs, etc., like that. Same thing like you do with the Native Americans. How about not paying taxes for 400 years, etc.? There's a bunch of things that could be done, but I don't know, man. It's just weird to me. Just looking at it, I was kind of upset watching these people. It was like you was crying to the white man for a song. I don't get it. Anybody else on the subject?
Well, you guys know I'm an Israelite, so we have a different perspective on it. But, you know, bruh, like, you know, there's a bunch of African leaders too, man, who are like, you know, they're like, you know, we had our hand in the slave trade too. I mean, Nigeria was getting it in, man, with the slave trade. So, but for so-called, I say so-called Negroes because we're really not black, we're brown. But anyway, like for so-called Negroes in America and throughout, they're not gonna see, you know, you guys know that like their success depends on our failure. There cannot be a even balance. It ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Like they say things like you know, go back to Africa or whatever, right? They really don't. Come on, man. They don't want us to leave. If we all was like ready to bounce, they would stop us. So that's why we're not getting any reparations and nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
Hey, let me ask you this, right? What is our option, right? Because you're an Israelite, you're whether you admit it or not, you're actually waiting for something to happen because it's a part of the information and how you interpret the scriptures. So you see certain things happening, you say, look at the world. You know, this must be that God is coming back or whatever. All right. So say, for example, nothing happens. You're 55 years old. You claim to be an Israelite. You live in, well, I don't know if it's temporarily or permanently. You live in Japan. And you see nothing is happening. Now, between your age, I don't know how old you are. Let's just say you're 35. So let's just say you're 35. Don't worry about it. Let's just say you're 35. And 55, you'd be 20 years from now, just to keep the numbers in around it. So 20 years. So in these 20 years, instead of you worshiping this God, not instead, but you're worshiping this God and you're waiting for something to happen. Don't you think the Israelites on a whole should move in a direction where it's more of a permanent solution instead of saying, you know what, God is going to come to solve it? Because what if this God doesn't come to solve anything? Because if you look at prophecies, and I could bring something up on the screen too. If you look at prophecies that we've had prophecies 1,000 years for the Romans. They thought God was going to come, which had some influence on the revelations and the writings. When you look at which Cerinthus actually, you're not a New Testament guy, but Cerinthus actually wrote some of Revelations. But there was 1,000 years. What about the year 1666? You know, what about the year 600 or the year 365? Hillary thought they were from Rome thought there was going to be something special happening. So there's always people waiting for something to happen. I'm just saying, what if nothing ever happens and you were just wrong from the jump? What is our fallback? Go ahead, Judah. I'm gonna mute my mic. Go ahead.
Well, because I live by the Torah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we kind of see things kind of picking up, kind of like what the Most High said is, going to happen. But now let's take into account too. Even the enemy himself has declared what his plans and strategies are for quote unquote his goal, his global agenda. So things are going to happen, like they're happening right now. But the problem is kind of like what the brother was speaking about before. Is we are not a part of that world order, if you will. Now, now what you're saying is a good question, right? I'm not one of those the Torah doesn't say like, it says like, just you know what I'm saying? And when the Most High does his thing, he does his thing. Now, we're gonna know it's time to go because it's gonna be a time of war. They already got it planned. They're trying to like start it right now. And but I'm not one of these like, Jesus is come back to save us with UFOs and all that type of mess. No. Like I agree when you say things like establishing businesses for ourselves and schools for ourselves and doing for self. I support that 100%. Like you have some Israelites who be like, they're like, don't go to school, don't do this, don't do that because God's coming any day, and that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, so again, with you do have a point too with in the past, they had these times where they thought that their days was the end time. Even what about today? We have these majority of the Israelites that you see that want to kill me. They were destroying people's lives. They were like, Jesus is coming back in the year 2000. Their jobs, they were cutting off their families. They were doing this and doing that, waiting on rooftops, waiting for Jesus to come back. Next thing you know, Jesus didn't come back. What happened? A lot of people got destroyed. So, their lives got destroyed, relationships got destroyed. So my thing is, what if, I don't know, man, our enemies are making sure that something's going to happen. Like straight up, like, it's like, let me keep it real, man. A lot of the hatred you see is because I've been bringing out information that the enemy would otherwise not have our people know, right? Or to meditate or think about. So, you know what I'm saying? They set up little distraction groups, Israelite groups, to distract, keep our people deaf, dumb, and blind, whatever. So, but to answer your question, you know what I'm saying? Like, in consideration, I told the brother like 2 weeks ago, he was like, we're going to go to the kingdom. We're going to the kingdom. And I'm like, you know what? Like, no, we're not. Like, it might be our children's children that make it into that generation, because right now we're still in captivity. You know what I'm saying? Like, do we have that exodus going out? And we have to wander. We're going to be wandering, probably going back to Africa or Asia, wherever we're going back in that direction, right? And the way to get there is through Africa, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, or however it is, we're going there. But things. Okay, like me give you a great example, right? The Torah speaks of like certain past world empires. We had like 7 world ruling empires, and things, they thought they were going to rule forever, but they didn't. But during the Roman times, the Romans thought they were going to rule forever. They didn't know that the power was going to shift from them and move to England. You know what I'm saying? England became like the actual real world dominant power. It was like, it's famous for its naval dominance. It was going all the way up into China and Asia and, creating mischief. So, just to answer your question, I don't think that UFOs are going to come down and beam us up, and Jesus is going to take us miraculously into the sky and drop us off, and we're going to, that's not realistic. So it might be my children's kids' generation who winds up back in the land. But while we're here, we got to I'm like you, we should like get ourselves together, have our own, establish our own, things like that. Now, I don't know if I'm planning on being in Japan forever, because, Japan's nothing but little America. I mean, everybody's here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's here. Not just Japanese, like everybody's here. You got cities that look like freaking California, straight up. Like white mothers pushing babies, Negroes in big groups, ice grilling each other. Like this the same mess, right? But anyway, so yeah, just things are gonna happen. And the enemy is gonna make it happen because he has an agenda. So, just to answer your question, not to ramble on.
Alan, you want to add to that, or Sister Monica?
I mean, yeah, he says that they have a plan. I know that we all know that nothing lasts forever. Everything goes in a cycle. But in terms of leaving or exodus, how do you think that the people from Africa would view us? Like, just say if something does happen, the move. Well, we see migrations happening here because of gentrification, where now the people in the that live in the urban cities are happening to move out because of income disparities and the south. I don't see people leaving the country. I don't see that happening. I don't see that. 44 million of us over here, 14% or 13% we make of the population. I think that's around 44 million. We are made under the system of made under this. So when we talk about the promised land, go back to Africa, when we look at the Africans that are here, I could only speak about the United States or from where I live at. They look at us as being like lazy people. They look at us as being like, you dudes been over here all this time and you dudes don't give shit back to Africa. You don't give nothing back to us. So that's their attitude from the people that I come into place. A promised land, what do you mean? We're going to go to Jerusalem? We don't make up the total population there. That because we're not even over there. If not that, there's a small population over there. So it's a weird type of thing. So I believe is from a mentality. If something does drastically happen, where people get to really see again, like it did in the past, who the enemy really is, and then people will begin to unify. Until that aspect happens, that's the only exodus I see that will bring the people together. I don't see nothing else happening because this whole system made us to be separate. It's about your social status. Who are you? What do you have? Even when you get in relationship, whatever you deal with, it has to deal with this separation mentality. And we are made into this. It's ingrained inside of us. So I don't know. I just think that it got to be more of just do what you can do, like with your family, build, add on to your cipher, and then keep on adding on to that positive circle.
Yeah, my whole thing is
a grand plan.
Yeah, my whole thing is
I don't know.
Is if we're all familiar with the Pascal wager, somebody's saying that at least if I'm wrong, I'm living righteous. I'm willing to take that chance. That's pretty much what the Pascal wager is saying. I'm saying, like, I could look on any Hebrew right now and I said, I'd like to challenge them. I said, okay, you have the laws and the commandments. I guarantee I'm living by the laws and the commandments probably better than most of them. And I'm going to tell you why. When it's in your nature and you're doing it, you don't need laws. You don't need books. You don't need anything. This is why I say I go by TDK Kilimanjaro's book, Maya. That's going to be my constitution when I start my abandoned town. Because it's a guide. It's a modern day guide. It's a rendition. He uses Maya because of its original spot as far as in Africa. And people don't want to say Egypt is Africa. Egypt is Africa. For those out there who's totally, because even 2 days ago, me and a white guy on Facebook argued about Egypt and Africa. I'm like, damn, I can't believe I just left the group. I said, I couldn't believe I'm having this conversation. We still arguing if Egypt is in Africa in 2017? Nah, I couldn't waste my time more than 2 minutes. I was out. I'm like, really? I'm out. These white folks, they could argue amongst themselves. Take Egypt and then take Congo, take Niger Congo, take everything if y'all want. Do whatever y'all want to do. But anyway, my point is, we have over 3 billion people who follow this book, whether they follow the New Testament or they follow the Old Testament. You have a billion people, billion people that follow the Quran. You have another 700,000 who are straight up white European Hebrews. You have Buddhists. You have people that follow the Hindu tradition. You have people that follow Jainism and all type of isms out there. Taoism, Jainism. So my whole thing is, it seems like we're all waiting or all focused on something happening. And I think the leaders that we select and elect use these guides to sometimes shape their policy. You have a guy that says that what do you call it? When he said the ear is bad, what do they call it, Alan? That what's his name is not real. What do they call that stuff?
What you said? The air?
The pollution of not chemtrails.
What they call it again? They call it when they say the world is intoxicated by the certain chemicals we use and all that stuff. Saying that what they call
the ozone?
No, you're right. Like the what they call it?
Climate change?
Climate change. They said climate change is not real. And this guy got up in Congress and said, you know why I know climate? I hope climate change is real so that we could all die because God is going to judge us. This is the type of attitude you have in the people that we select. This is why it's important that although Donald Trump, I think he's a Catholic, although he's not really a religious dude per se, he's not. He's just a regular free thinker, in my opinion. And what happened is when people rule like George Bush talking about how he prayed to go into Iraq and all this craziness, and Jesus told him, yeah, you should go in. This is the stupidity. People are ruling from this point of view. But I'm just saying to Judah that if you are wrong and your religious beliefs have been wrong all along, it's not all lost if you're living a just life. You know what I'm saying? It's not all lost that you passed on living a just life to your children. Because I don't have to go buy a book. I don't have to read a Torah to know that I'm not supposed to steal. I don't need a Torah to know I'm not supposed to sleep with my boy's wife. Why do I need a Torah for that? That shit is just wrong, period. You know what I'm saying? So the laws is if it's natural to you, you don't need a book. That's practically my point. But my whole thing is, does this put us in a wait and see program? Does this belief system put us in a point where it pacifies us? You know, I mean, me and Danny was talking about this, Alan, yesterday. I don't know if you heard the conversation. We was talking about rebellions and slave revolts throughout the history of us coming in the West. And the majority, like 90% of the revolts or the rebellions were people who were following African traditions or Obia. That's who was rebelling. In Jamaica, we had Taki and Three Finger Jack. We had Nani, Kojo, the Maroons. Most of them were from the Akon culture. You look at the 1712 revolt in New York. They did the same thing that Nani did with the smoke and he ended up talking about LeBron and Kevin Garnett and the smoke in the air and the tradition of it. But when the brother broke it down, he showed that we had even Denmark Vesey. People might claim he's a Christian, but he had some stuff that pushed him back into the Akon culture that he did. And so the reason why this book or this religion was put on us, in my opinion, it seems like it's to pacify us. It didn't work with the Nat Turner situation, although he is rooted in the Akon, Nat Turner. You know, him being a Christian, he was just a rebellion. So all these rebellions we find in the West, whether it's in the Caribbean, Jamaica, Belize, wherever, in the United States, it seems like the Akon people were the most rebellious of all and were fighters. You know, so I don't know if the religion was given to us to pacify us so we won't rebel anymore or whatever, but it seems like nothing has worked. You look at Haiti. Haiti's been free because of their religious beliefs and what they had. I mean, in my opinion, they didn't follow a religion that pacified them. And when Bookman went there and he said his prayer, he differentiated from his God to the next God. You know, he's saying that the God that they worship is not the God that he's calling on to. You know, although he was eventually killed the following year, Dessalines took over. You know what happened from there with the French, you know? And then he had the League of Nations meeting to try to enslave these French people. I mean, enslave these Haitian people. And that's why they're in the condition they're in today, you know? So I don't know. I'm saying that if we are wrong, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, did you waste your whole life? All right, let's say, Judah, let's just say you were wrong for argument's sake. Your religious belief is wrong your whole life. How would you think finding out that everything that you believe was wrong? Would it have changed your whole path that you're on? Would
Yeah,
it, I
I think
mean, how would it have changed? Go ahead, my brother.
if I found out that, well, let me at least give a little small like little background for myself, so you can kind of see where I'm coming from. Um, I come from like homeless, orphan, um, from state to state to state to state to state. My parents kind of abandoned me. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, I barely graduated high school. You know what I'm saying? I barely had I had a little bit of college education, like community college education. So the Torah, what it did for me, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, now I travel around the world. I'm teaching professors, and I've learned another language without a teacher. Um, it just brought me just so far. So to even imagine it being like fake is like, well, like okay, like there's like religion, like again, if I don't know if you ever watched my videos, but if you clearly see what I'm doing, I'm teaching math and science, which just really means thought and knowledge. You know what I'm saying? It was what math and science really is. It's thought and knowledge. So I come with it with a scientific and mathematical approach, not like a religious approach, which the other Israelites do. So there is that divide. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're not in reality. So no, again, let's say if Russia has a big missile, a big missile called the Satan II, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's for America. Right? Now, say that that missile hits America, and it'll just wipe America out, right? All right. So say the people have nothing. We have nothing, but we have the Torah. Now, I'm telling you, with the Torah, without the white man's false, what do you call it, fiat currency notes, and the Fed and all this madness, just trickery that he tricks the public with. You get Esau off our back and let us be self-sufficient and get the Torah. We can establish our own economy. We would learn mathematics, sciences by studying of nature, knowledge of the soul, knowledge of the mind. All these things are all in the Torah. So my approach to it is in a actual applicable level, not just a religious, the other groups are religious, there's no math and science in like they think that is separate, but the Torah is not like that. Like you see me, I get on Zion Lex sometimes for it. And I'm not disrespecting a brother. I'm not talking bad about him, but he does in some ways kind of backs up what I'm saying. Like, he does it in like a weird Kabbalah kind of way, but he does show that this book is a book of knowledge, wisdom and understanding. It's not like a religious text. Like, religion is like Christianity. Like, like think about it too. Like, my grandmother, who raised me for some of the years, was like hard body Christian. Like, I'm talking like every Sunday, Joel Osteen on TV, any Christian preacher, pastor, she watched all that mess, right? So she's like religious, and she separated science and math from her religion. Now, the word faith in Hebrew means truth, and truth is mathematics. Like 4 + 4 is 8, no matter what you say. So with the Torah, I'm saying we literally can start I think you asked if our people were to. There's going to be an exodus. For one, again, there's going to be a World War III. They already planned this out. Like they're stoking the flames right now. We don't have an army to fight. You have our brothers and sisters in their army, but it's going to be a point in time where what I'm saying, like it's going to be, we don't have an army we are going to be at the like, that they're going to like attack us. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we don't have an army to defend ourselves. We don't have an establishment. We are literally in the belly of the dragon. So, our time is coming up where we're not going to be under Esau's dominion. So to even to kind of insinuate that like we should like we should stay here would be implying that the enemy is going to be ruling forever, when just study of history shows that world ruling empires have their time, and then the quote unquote corrosive part comes in, and and they fall. And America right now is in that part. This is why you have Donald Trump saying, we want to make America great again. Right, because clearly he sees us in that dissolution part, where it's kind of falling apart. Like, bridges are falling apart, subway systems don't run, the economy's jacked up, there's all type of this and that. So their idea is order out of chaos, right? Like, they know that it's going to be chaotic, right? But like, again, we don't have substance like that. So we are not going to be subject to these people forever. And even if we did, let's say, okay, I did find out that the Torah is a lie, and I adopt atheism. Well, then that means whatever plan there is for our enemy, we're going to be a part of that plan, because they're not going to make it. Like, like you can clearly see Russia is like probably the most powerful country in the world right now. Like, we're talking China owns majority of America. You know what I'm saying? Israel, so-called Israel, controls America. All these different countries have parceled out America. So we saw what happened with Black Wall Street. We start creating substance for ourselves. The enemy sees you're doing well. He knows he can't. His success depends on their failure. He knows you start getting too good, he's gonna bomb it, destroy it, and that's what happens. This is what happens in our music. Anything we do, whatever we do, where we create, the enemy sees we're doing good. He puts his foot in the Kool-Aid. If you know what I'm talking about. Like, he's going to destroy it. So we have to get out of Esau's dominion at some point. Like, as far as all the people we have, I think it's safe to say, like, majority of our people ain't going to make it, bro. Like, they're just not. Like let me just talk about just like the Israelites, the Hebrew Israelites, people who are practicing the faith. Like, majority of these Negroes are in a cult. Like, they're just not going to make it. They're talking about waiting on Jesus, when our Torah says, get out of here, because there's going to be missiles landing out here, and if you don't want to die, get out, wander, just get out. Like, don't just go. But these dudes are talking about stay here and wait for Jesus. So that tells you already right then, like, well, these dudes ain't going to make it. So, but it's hard to imagine not real, because, well, clearly I was a dum-dum, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was a C-.
Hey, Judah, let me cut you. By the way, this is Judah Natsara. I don't know if I pronounce it properly. He's all the way from Japan, and he's a Hebrew. I don't know if you consider yourself a Hebrew Israelite, or you call yourself an Israelite, nationality-wise. Hebrew as
yeah, I'm just an Israelite. Hebrew, those black Israelites, those dudes who look like Parliament Funkadelic. I'm not one of them brothers.
All right. Hey, let me ask you this: when you say Israelite as a nationality, Israel as a nation, historically speaking, we can find it between 850 and 800 BC, the Tel Dan Stela, the Mesha Stela. Outside of that, we don't find Israel as a nation in history up until 1948. How do we claim that as a nationality? Because I don't know if you know this, but in the time when Jesus allegedly lived, no place was known as Israel. There was no place known as Israel after the Mesha Stele. And let me just give an example. The Assyrians called it the area where Israel is today, Samaria or Samarina. And even your scriptures acknowledge this in 2 Kings 17. When we look at, after the Assyrians, we had the Babylonians. The Babylonians never call where we see Israel today, Israel. They also had a name for it, Samaria. I'm talking about northern Israel, by the way, too. All right? Because historically, we can't really prove there was a southern Israel and southern Israel with Judah. We can't prove it. We know there was a Judah after the 8th century. We could prove that. The place was already there, with no doubt about it. Place was there. But as far as names, known by certain names, we don't know it. So I'm saying to you, if I was to accept what you believe, Israelite as a nationality, how could you prove that when the place where Israel is called that, really outside of the biblical scriptures, it was never known as Israel? Outside of 850 BC, 800 BC, you find Sumeria, you find it's called Syria Palestina by Herodotus, and it's called Syria Palestina by the Romans again. Then they changed it to Atelia Capitolina in the 2nd century. So I'm asking, how can we claim it as a nationality when there was no nation? Your mic's muted. Your mic's muted.
I'm sorry. Now, this is our oldest Hebrew text, which is nothing but a copy of much older Hebrew text. And
allegedly.
No. These are come on, brother.
Allegedly. I'm going to tell you why I say allegedly. All right, go ahead and talk, and I'll tell you why. Go ahead, continue.
Okay. We are now. Let me explain first. Now, I always stated this before. The name Israel was given later on. We were called Abara, or those who crossed over. We were nothing but Sumerians. A mixed multitude of people, like so-called Negroes come in all shapes and sizes and whatnot, right? Now,
hold on. You just said something very important. You said Sumerians. Why would you call yourself Sumerian?
That's where we come from.
So you saying that you come from Sumerians. All right. Now, I don't know if you ever saw my presentation on Sonetta when I dismantled Zion Lex scholarship. I don't know if you ever saw that. But in that presentation, I showed the real Chaldea. I showed how they called Babylon and Chaldea 2 different places during the Assyrian times, showing that there was 2 different places. It's modern day scholarship when Woolry found the Sumerian documents, and we even using the word Sumeria. It wasn't even Sumeria back then either. But we're using names today to classify, because what happened is most of the archaeologists were Bible believers. So whenever they found a city, they would gravitate to it and try to say, hey, this is this city or that is that city. I don't know how familiar you are with Sumerian culture and their history, but 6000 BC, southern Mesopotamia was not a livable area. It was a swamp. They had 3 ways of coming through it because it was just a total swamp. So 6000 BC. All right, let me prove it to you right now. You're shaking your head. I'm gonna bring something from you, and you could accept it or you could reject it. But I'm gonna show you something right now on my screen, and I want you to see something real quickly, just to show you what I'm saying. That 6000 BC was a swamp. As a matter of fact, you know what? I really don't want to do anything and then get this channel banned also. But I'm gonna share my screen 1 second, and I want you to look at something, because I want to learn from you and I want you to hear what my point of view is. And we have to be careful when we attach ourselves to cultures. If you're going to claim you're something, make sure you're on point with it. All right? All right, let's look at where the hell is this thing at? All right, here we go. All right, so this is my presentation with Zion, pieces of it. All right, that means I gotta go inside my hold on. Here we go. All right, this is the Metropolitan Museum timeline for Mesopotamia. All right, if you look here at the top, you see 8000 BC pre-pottery Neolithic, 10,000 to 7,000 BC. Now, this is the area in the northern Mesopotamia. You're talking about Upper Syria and so forth. It's called the Hazuna period. 6900 to 6500, and they have the Halaf period, the Samara period, 7000 6300 BC. Now, if you look in the south, if you notice what Metropolitan Museum is telling us with the chart, nobody is here, nothing. This is the Metropolitan Museum. Anybody go there, just look up Mesopotamia, and you will see this chart. This is not Garfield talking, all right? So this is what I'm trying to prove to my brother right now. So now, if you look again, you see the north, Mesopotamia, Hasuna Halaf period, Sumeria period, to the Ubaid period. So now look at the south now. The south now has an Ubaid period starting 6200. This is when people started coming into the area. So if you notice before, you don't see anything. And let me go back to the first picture. You see nothing here because it was a swamp. I'm going to show you the picture of the swamp right now. So you know that Garfield is not playing. I don't play when it comes to scholarship. Let me see now. Let me see. Let me see. All right. All right. So we have that. We don't have that. All right. Now let's look at this for a second. Now I don't have the. I have it on my files. I could bring it up, but I'm going to show you something real quickly here. All right. I got to show you a map. Because people get a lot of things confused, especially when it comes to the Mesopotamians and so forth. All right. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. All right, let me plug. I'm gonna plug something in my computer. It's my files with the actual presentation. And what I'm gonna show you. What I'm gonna show you is that. And by the way, do you accept what I just showed Metropolitan Museum, or do you need more evidence?
Well, I'll answer your question when you're. Go on, brother.
All right. All right, hold on. Let me just show this right now. Let me come out of this screen. Let me come out of here, and let me go to this right here. All right. When I go to this, I gotta go down all the way to the bottom. I gotta go to my files. And by the way, to this book right here, L.A. Waddell, that's where he got most of his stuff in his book. He actually plagiarized the book, but we get into that tomorrow if he shows up. Sister Monica is really quiet. All right, when you show the Dead Sea Scrolls also, let me add this. The Dead Sea Scrolls, nobody is saying that there was no writings from before. We don't know which parts were written, because if we go by the Dead Sea Scrolls, that means, do you have the whole Exodus story in the Dead Sea Scrolls? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. So should I say that the Exodus didn't happen or it didn't exist? So using that methodology is kind of,
I would just show the pharaoh. I would just show the pharaoh in the museum. But go on.
Oh, okay. No. You could show. You could show anything you want to show. Hold on a second here. Let me try to find this file real quick for you. Once I find this file, you're gonna see where I'm coming from, because I could argue and say, okay, this is this and that is that. But we have to be honest with ourselves. We can't allow. Hold up. So where's this file? Hold on a second. Here are my files. Oops. Very interesting. Presentation. Yeah, but with the Dead Sea Scroll, we got to be very careful with that. Why is it I can't find my presentation? All right, I know what I'm gonna do. Why is it this thing is not? All right, let me stop sharing my screen for a second. All right, go ahead, Judah. Just present whatever you're presenting, and let me find this report real quick.
All right, Sumeria, oh, man. Sorry, my brother keeps calling. Anyways, I'm sorry about that. Sumeria was the first civilization, and the reason why I don't always go by Esau's timelines, is because he doesn't have a time machine to actually go back and actually predict what specific time was what. Now, I go by his history, as we all know, like world history. Now, all nations had what we call a mystery system. So Esau, the white man's mystery system, comes from our mystery system, which they themselves even admit. So anyways, to get to that, just to show you, you can't see it here. I wish I could make it larger. But if you can see it, this is the Akkadian and Phoenician alphabet. Okay? The Akkadian and Phoenician alphabet, where the Hebrews come out, they were speaking what they call Phoenician or Canaanite, Akkadian. The Ethiopians too were also there ruling as the first actual dynasty, and in that region, there's the first civilization where they established quote unquote like money systems, trade routes, and so forth and so on. Also, to prove that, also it's really funny because I'm in Japan too, is the Japanese language itself is also it's what they call the Semitic branch. So in Hebrew we would say anata, which means you. It's the same way in Japanese, anata, you, or it's now if you ask them about their history, they don't even know. Like they don't know. They just know all their old artifacts and all this whatever, but they have no functional memory of where exactly they come from. Because also Japanese are different ethnic groups that all poured into this country or different places. But even Japanese scholars, some Japanese scholars themselves also trace some of the groups back to ancient Babylon, which is why you have a Semitic branch of the language.
All right,
of
stop
Japanese
right,
language.
Stop right there.
All right.
Are you familiar with AFED 23?
No.
All right. A group of Polish archaeologists work for the Institute of Archaeology and Ethnology in Poland have managed to uncover the remains of a 70,000-year-old African settlement in northern Sudan. They have actually redated this to 15,000. What they found was something similar to this. Okay? So when you say civilization started, how are you grading civilization? By language or by structures of buildings? Because this predates Göbekli Tepe also. And to prove my point even more, hold on a second. And to prove my point even more is that once you find out that there was somewhere in Sudan, and that's where the Egyptians come from the south, you start finding pictures like these. This is a picture of a boat that was dated on a material that was dated to 7,000 BC. No boat predates that in history, as far as from your area, Sumeria, because Sumer didn't exist before 6,000 BC. Now, you might not like the timeline. You say you don't like Esau's timeline. That means we need to throw out all timelines. We need to look at what happened and with each culture and see how old it is, and then go by that. Because remember, the Sumerian cuneiform, the Sumerian language is not a Semitic language. The Sumerian language is a gluttonary language, or it's a language that's traced to Niger, Congo. It's an African language. So that's where it came from. So if 6,000, so you're telling me no African existed before 6,000 BC. Because 6,000 BC, after that, sometime after that, that's when the Niger Congo people went in there and they created this. They brought the language with them. So I'm not going to play the game about dating, because Akkadian is the first recognized Semitic language. Akkadian. So some of the stuff we read with Sumerian is mixed. Akkadian mixed with the Sumerian language. Now, when we look at hold on, let me just show you one more thing. Now, when we look at Egypt and things that's going on in Egypt, we have to first of all look at where some of these things were built and who built them and so forth, and see how old they are. All right, this is the picture of the swamp, old and swamp back in the days, showing how Sumer was built with canals, North Harbor, the houses of towns, the West Harbor, and how it was pretty much a swamp. This 3rd millennium BC, Sumer. All right, they're showing you, this is a picture of exactly, not exactly, but an estimate of how it looked because of how the water system was around it and how they had to build systems to let the water come out. They had nothing called raw materials, nothing. All right, and if Alan was here, he would have shown you the ways of Horus, the 4 different ways that we traded with them, not them trading with us. All right. Hold on one second. Let me just show you one more thing. This is something about, you might not know about Sumeria and Egypt. Right here, the gold. They had Egyptian gold. You go to Tepigara, they had Egyptian gold. The only place had it was Egypt. Where they got it from? Common sense. It was taken from pre-dynastic times to their places. The material that's used to make their cylinder is made of, let me just show you exactly what it's made of. It's made of diorite albastar, white limestone, brecciated gray limestone, serpentine and steatite, all raw materials found in Egypt. That's what makes up their cylinders. The small, tiny cylinders that Mesopotamia had is made, the material comes from Egypt. I could go on and on, brother, about the information that they have or stuff they have from Egypt. Now, lapis lazuli is not originally from Mesopotamia. It's from where we call Afghanistan. That's not from Mesopotamia, but we have it in Egypt because of trade. And they traded from North Syria. All right. Sumer did not have raw materials. They brought in raw materials. All right. And I got most of that information from this book, by the way. You might not like him, Esau, Mr. Esau, but I also spoke to him. All right.
Can we?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
All right. You do know that ancient Egypt was also doing trade with ancient, what they call the Indus Valley, which is old India, or Hindu India, as we, they call it, what Hindu Kush.
What is your source on that?
My source on it? It's the same. It's the exact same culture.
No, it's not, brother. I'm telling you, if you follow this LA Waddell craziness, bro, you're wrong.
Let me ask you a question.
Jump. You got to tell me who your source is. You just got to tell me who your source is. Go ahead.
The Hindus themselves and the ancient Egyptians. Who was ancient Egyptians? Where did Amun-Ra come from?
Amun-Ra come from? So you're saying Amun-Ra came from do I need, hold on, let me pull this down a little bit here. And let me get L.A. Waddell's book, because I know what the source is and where it came from. I could tell you what you're saying and where it comes from. I'm going to show you the source right now. But that's what the Dagger Squad does. We go to source materials. All that you're saying, I'm trying to figure out why you came with the Sumer argument, like Zion Lex. But we need to understand this argument comes from this guy, L.A. Waddell. And what L.A. Waddell is doing, and if anybody want to Google L.A. Waddell just for argument's sake, he's the gentleman that brought up the whole Sumerian origin of it's Egyptian civilization, it's Sumerian origin, and all this craziness. He's the one that bring all this garbage up. This stuff here. He's the one that brought it up and talk about the Indian. As a matter of fact, hold on, let me show you something else. Let's just Google L.A. Waddell for a second. L.A. Waddell. Let's just Google L.A. Waddell and go to the wiki article, right? All right. This is the Esau that came up with the idea today that the white man is the original man, and he created what we have as far as the Egyptian empire. This is the white man that's pushing that. David Rohl is now mimicking this white Esau, like you like to talk. So the thing is, Judah, you're going to fall into a problem when you start using Esau as a source and only pick out what you want. He made up this whole thing about the Indus Valley, right? Right here, see? Indus Valley seals. The first Indus Valley or Harappan seal was published by Alexander Cunningham in 1872, right? And he goes into all of that. In the 1920s, Waddell's theory that the Indus Valley seals were Sumerian had some academic support despite criticisms. Ralph Turner considered Waddell's work to be fantasy. Two notable supporters of Waddell included John Marshall and Stephen Langberg. Marshall had led the main excavation campaign in Harappa and published his support for Waddell's Sumerian decipherment in 1931. Preston, however, in a section of her biography of Waddell entitled Opposition to Indo-Sumerian Seal Deciphered, points out that support for Waddell's theory had disappeared by the early 1940s. So all this stuff about Indus Valley and Sumer and mixing it with Egypt, bruh, that's why I asked you, what is your source? Because you have to tell me where you're getting this from. Because most of the people that teach this stuff is Esau people, and Esau people are teaching it that the white man gave us African civilization. So are you supporting that it's the white man that gave us life, or is the root of us, when science proves that everything comes out of us? So you have to be careful when you jump on these. I'm going to go to the. This is why I'm asking.
I'm going to go to the ancient. Okay.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Should I find the source? Should I find the Hindu source for like I asked you? I said, where did Amun Ra come from? Because Amun Ra was not a part of the original what they call the Aeonid of the Egyptian pantheon of gods. He was an imported god from India. He was a blue god with a peacock hat, which is none other than Krishna. So in this valley, in Nile Valley, are basically synonymous. Now, hold on, free to rub, hold on. You know that good old question everyone likes to ask? Can you read the Medu Neter? No, you can't. But those who say they can, what do they go to? They go to the Bhagavad Gita and the Vedic text for the Indians to translate their stuff. Because for all the Egyptian gods, there are the ancient Hindu gods. For instance, let me give it a good example. Ma'at. Ma'at is for the, because I was a Pan-Africanist. So Ma'at is the, Ma'at is represented as the cosmic balance for order, and disorder would be Isfet, right? Now, the Hindu counterpart for Ma'at is called Rita, which is cosmic balance, and she keeps it like the pharaoh was the masculine principle, and Ma'at was the principle that he had lived by to cause stability for Egypt. It also exists in ancient Hinduism, even modern Hinduism, which is why today you can go into India and find more pyramids in India than you can in Egypt, because they share the exact same culture. Like, in fact, like I said, Egypt imported its Amun Ra from India. Now you can go find, I'm trying to find the Indian source, or you can, for those of you who want to get a Google image, type in Amun Ra is Krishna, and you're going to find the blue god with the peacock hat. Go look up the Egyptians' original pantheon. You'll find that Amun Ra is not there. Amun Ra comes in way later, because he's originally Krishna, the blue sun god demon with a peacock feathered hat. So this is why you can go into India and find a bunch of pyramids everywhere, because ancient Egypt was based on solar phallic or penis worship, which is a fact. There's just no denying that. You know it. We all know it. So is Hinduism.
Bro.
Worship of Come on, brother. Let's keep it real.
Egypt is the worship of penis. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Nah,
Egypt's religion. Hold on, brother. Egypt's religion is worship of the phallus. Let's look at the so-called gods Osiris. Look at the god Min. Look at all the phallic objects in phallic worship.
Oh my
Wait, and you like to quote Herodotus. You like to quote Herodotus too, right?
Bro.
Hold on, brother.
Okay. Yeah. Quote Herodotus. Go ahead. Quote Herodotus.
What did he say? What did he say? He said the women were having sex with goats. The goat, the bull, the cows, and all, they were all venerated, just like they are in ancient or in modern Hinduism right now.
Where did he say that?
For their sexual.
Where did he say that? Where did he say that? I want to know where he
type it up.
Type
it up. Herodotus.
Seems like you follow a lot of Google websites, bro.
Hold on, brother.
Seems like you follow a bunch of Google websites.
Type in Herodotus. Bro, I don't have all. I didn't know we were going to have this discussion yet, but you can. Anyone can type in right now. Type in Herodotus on Egyptian women having sex with animals, with goats, and bulls, which were venerated in ancient Egypt for their sexual virility. That's what I'm telling you. Ancient Egypt was the exact same thing as modern Hinduism, such as, let me give another example.
Let me show you a Herodotus quote. Since you want to quote Herodotus. Okay. In all his works, Herodotus makes no single mention of Jews or Hebrews, Judah or Israel. He speaks of the coastal cities of Sidon and Tyre, but never of Jerusalem. He records the great temple of Aphrodite Urania at Ascalon, but fails to mention any temple of Solomon. He does, however, know of circumcision and says this: the Colchians, the Egyptians, and the Ethiopians are the only races which from ancient times have practiced circumcision. The Phoenicians and the Syrians of Palestine themselves admit that they adopted the practice from Egypt. No other nations use circumcision, and all of these are without doubt following the Egyptian lead. So now, where is the Jews? Where are the Hebrews? Where is Judah? Where is Israel? And this is 480 BC. They're not known by this guy. So if they are not known by this guy, that means what the Bible story is telling us is some hogwash, bro. Because these people don't exist in the eyes of Herodotus. He's calling the people of Palestine Syrians. And he's saying that they said they adopted circumcision from the Egyptians. Now, what does your Bible say about circumcision? Why did he do circumcision? If the people of that region said that they got it from Egypt, where did your Bible say they got it from?
From the Most High.
All right, now let's move on to point 2.
Well, hold on, brother. Wait, hold on.
Let me finish reading this quote. They go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. Herodotus gathered much of his information firsthand from priests and holy men. His travels took him to the frontier of Upper Egypt and to Babylon itself. He also recorded popular beliefs and legends. Speaking of the inhabitants at the eastern end of the Mediterranean, he says, the Phoenicians, with the Syrians of Palestine, have a tradition that in ancient times they lived on the Persian Gulf, but migrated to the Syrian coast where they are found today. This part of Syria, together with the country which extends southward to Egypt, is all known as Palestine. For Herodotus, this land is the home of the Syrians, known as Palestinians. If tribesmen in the interior escaped his attention, they assuredly were not the authors of a great empire which supposedly had existed a few hundred years before his own time. More than 2,000 years later, nothing has emerged to change our understanding. I'm not even going to read the rest. But my point is, if you're going to use Herodotus, are you going to use him in this situation too? And I could show you where the quote comes from because it's right there. What you said right now, I don't know where that quote is. I'll just say we got to see that quote before we even accept that conversation. You got to show us. So I could show you. You know, what are you going to show me regarding Egyptians and Krishna? What you going to show me? Some Google website, some guy who wrote a little blog, but you're not going to show me scholarship. That's what
scholarship is. Scholarship is also comparing what you see today with what you guys say. You guys, wait, where's it? Oh, okay. You guys, Egyptian brothers know, or people who like Egyptian, whatever that madness knows. Anyone who does comparative study of mystery systems, which I specialize in, Egypt's mystery system was worship of the penis. Flat out. This was flat out what it was. They had their quote unquote earth mother, but Pharaoh symbolized the penis. Flat out. It's all the phallic idol god.
Where you get that from, bro? Where you got that from? Where did you get that from?
Greek. Wait.
No, give me a book. Give me a scholar.
Wait, hold on.
Give me a website. Give me something.
Come on, brother. Where did Greece get the? Okay, fine. Okay, hold on. If you give me 1 second, I'll get you a book. Okay.
All right, no problem, brother.
1 second.
All right. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna try to edit these videos so I could remove those strikes against my. Well, it's not strikes. They have some issue. I'm on a 90-day ban because of some videos. All right. So, but what I'm gonna show is that, I mean, we could say things all day long, man, about Egypt. But Egypt is Africa, and anybody says anything negative about Africa, y'all know how I get. You know, but you know, I'm just gonna say that Egypt did not worship any penis. This is the argument that many people, the kooks, come with. But when I say give me a source on that, Herodotus said that. Show me that Herodotus quote. I don't think Herodotus said that. I think somebody said that, but not Herodotus. So that's where I leave that. All right. Let me see what time is it. 11 o'clock. I'm gonna hold on, what's going on here?
Got his sources, though, I feel.
Yeah, people gotta do, you know. Yep. So I mean, you see, we gotta learn how to research too. You say you do comparative research. Now, if I tell you that the 12 tribes, we find that in Greek history, you're gonna say, no, that's not true. Because if you talk about 12 sons and 12 tribes, we literally have them Amphictyon League from the Greeks saying that there are 12 tribes. We literally have that. We don't find no history of no 12 tribes. All the ostracons, all the information of Israelites, we don't see nothing to do with no tribes. Nothing. The scholars, if you don't accept them, they actually agree with me. I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out how you research, how you come to a conclusion. Because if you're saying Sumeria is first, I just showed you societies that are way before. I didn't even show you the people that built up Nabta Playa, how they lived in Egypt for 4,000 years before that, and they had a water system back in 9,000 BC. How do you account for that? How do you account for such great information and technology if these people are not ahead? I mean, Sumer, I just showed you Metropolitan Museum. So you're saying you don't accept Metropolitan Museum, so we don't need to talk then. This is why I asked you off the bat.
Hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. But wait. Hold on, brother. Wait.
What source are you going to accept? It seems like you only accept sources that you like.
Now, hold on. Now, Esau did not. His mystery system comes from Egypt. Yes or no?
His mystery systems come from Egypt. Yeah,
they call it the Eleusinian mystery system.
Well, I won't. You know what? I'm not going to agree to that because the white man put his spin on everything. I don't know where he got it from. I'll say that. I don't know where he got it from.
So were the Greeks and Syrians marrying into the Egyptians?
Of course.
So then we have Edomite pharaohs then.
Okay.
We have Edomite pharaohs then. Okay. Well, since we established that, now, hey.
All right. What's your source? Is this a source on Herodotus? Your mic's muted.
I have Herodotus right here. Pigs, goat, and
penguin. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The Mendesians held all goats in veneration. Where was Mendes? Where was that located?
I don't know.
Egypt.
Okay.
The Egyptians sacrificed bulls.
What is it? Can you share your screen? Can you share your screen?
I don't know how to do that. I don't know I'm not all that technologically advanced.
All right.
With computers. Hold on. This is Herodotus. The Egyptians sacrificed bulls if they were worthy of the honor.
Where's the quote coming from? Where in Herodotus writing?
Give me 1 second.
Because I know you're getting it from a website, so I just need to know what is their source.
Yeah, I'm on.
I don't want you to show your website.
It's on Herodotus.
Just tell me what is your source?
It's called Reading Herodotus: A Guided Tour Through the Wild Boars Dancing Suitors.
Okay, but what is the source? What is that person's source?
It's Herodotus, his writings.
I know, but what page? What page should we go on? Because I could bring up his penguin right now, his writings. I could bring up the primary. So I want to see where that's from, or is that somebody's opinion?
I don't know how to share this.
Anybody could write a book.
Wait. Opinion? I thought we were going by Herodotus' words.
No, don't worry about it. That's fine. I said that could be somebody's opinion. Okay. Look at the side of your screen. You're gonna see a screen share button with an arrow like. You see a camera. You see a message. Then you see a green button that says screen share. You could click on that.
Well, okay. For the Google Hangouts, okay.
Yeah, click on that, and then when you click on that,
This is.
It should say full screen. Click on that afterwards.
Say it one more time. One more time.
You clicked on screen share.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, then it brought up another white box, and you should see full screen or printed. Click on that.
All right. It's in Japanese, but yeah, I'm assuming it's the blue one. So,
Yep, there you go.
all right. Can you
Now click
see?
on your. Now click on your. Yeah, there you go.
All right. You see this Herodotus?
Yes.
All right. Hold on. Garfield made me lose my spot.
There you go.
Because it had it like.
All right.
Hold on. Oh, where is it? Damn. I'm sorry for everyone who's waiting here. I'm sorry, but Garfield had me doing all this since Garfield likes Herodotus. Hold on. Oh, you made me lose my spot, bro.
Just do the search. You hit your little magnify glass and put the word in the search, and it go to it.
All right, I'm gonna have to wait. Hold on. I don't know if I can do this. Give me 1 second. 1 second.
What's the name of that book?
Give me 1 second. Sex with goats. wait. Hold on. Where is it? Herodotus book 2? Oh, no. I'm sorry. That was wrong. I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. Go back. I'm sorry. Not this one. That wasn't the correct one. You see this right here where it says 10 bizarre sex facts from the ancient world. You see that, right? But, you know, we're not going to get onto that. I think this is it. Is it reading Herodotus, a guided tour?
Herodotus, an Egyptian woman having sex with goats. All right, let me Google that.
Yes. Wait, aren't y'all looking? Remember, you know the goat of Mendes, right? Sis, have you heard of the goat of Mendes? Because we know that Garfield's not going to answer that. Have you heard of the goat of Mendes?
No.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay. A common Egyptian curse. Let me read it for the audience. Let me share my screen. You want me to share my screen?
What, brother, you're on the wrong thing.
We can see it.
It doesn't matter. Okay. I know what it's talking about.
Garfield trying to wiggle out of this. Go ahead, brother.
I'm smart. Because I'm a smart guy. So he put Herodotus, an Egyptian woman having sex with goats. All right. Look at this.
Yes.
All right. So bestiality. They're talking about bestiality. When we think of bestiality, all right, and I'm gonna scroll down. All right.
Magnify it, Garfield. Can't
Oh
see
yeah,
that.
yeah. Let me. For people who like me who don't have the vision. All right. Here we go. Perfect. All right. So here we go.
That's better.
All right. Bestial practices, it seems, are as old as mankind. One of the earliest depictions is a cave painting from Val Camonica in Brescia, Italy, circa 8000 BC. And by the way, 8000 BC is before Sumer, just for the record. All right. Which clearly shows a man pleasuring a donkey. A common Egyptian curse went, "May I donkey fuck your wife and children." We will hear about a woman having sex with a goat in Herodotus' description of some bizarre Egyptian habits. In the meantime, there's also the example of the highly sacred Egyptian Apis bull with its strong association with fertility. Now, let me read it again. An Egyptian curse went, "May a donkey F your wife and children." We will hear about a woman having sex with a goat in Herodotus' descriptions of some bizarre Egyptian habits. All right. Now, I'm going to have to see the Herodotus quote.
Can you scroll down, brother? Can you scroll down?
Okay. There's also the example of the highly sacred Egyptian Apis bull with its strong association with fertility. When a new bull was born to replace the deceased one, only women were allowed to look after it for the first 40 days of its life. To encourage fertility throughout its life, women would lift up their cloaks and display their vulvas. Theocritus described shepherds and goats in hideous coupling at Thiot, while a petroglyph found at Naqua, North Italy, shows a man happily sodomizing a quadruple while gazing, waving at the viewer. In the various books on dream interpretation from ancient Greece, we hear of women fantasizing about sex with mice, horses, donkeys, rams, wolves, crocodiles, snakes, baboons, ibis, falcons. All right. So now let me ask you a question now.
Okay.
All right. Hittite law from the 16th century BC to the 13th century.
Come on, brother, get it out.
Hold on. Explicitly permitted sexual relations with the dead, according to Herodotus. Necrophilia was a problem in Egypt. All right. So now it says here.
Wait a minute, necrophilia too? They was having sex with dead people? Okay, no problem. Go ahead, brother.
Stop. It says, according to Herodotus, necrophilia was a problem in Egypt. It never said that they did it. It said it was a problem. You see?
Brother, problem means practice, bro. Come on, brother.
Problem means
Cut it out, brother. Cut it out, bro. Cut it out.
Problem means practice?
The goats was tearing it down. Okay, that's what's going on.
Hold on. Which goats was tearing it down? Where's the evidence of this?
Keep reading, bro. He talks about it. Wait.
I already read it already.
Okay.
Curse, may a donkey if your wife and children. We will hear about a woman, not woman, a woman having sex with a goat in Herodotus' description. You just basically said that Herodotus said that the Egyptian women were sleeping around with goats. That's not true. He never said that.
No, hold on, you guys. Now, you guys see Garfield trying to weasel his way out of it. Now, look. On his page,
hold on a second.
Hold on, brother. Come on.
Hold on a second. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get I want to get Herodotus' actual word. That's what I want to get. Okay, here we go. I think this is the book that you had. Hold on, let me bring this up for the audience so they could see it. You see, you have to be careful. You have to be careful when you talk to me. Because for one, I'm not going to let you talk about any African culture without any proper evidence. He said a woman. He talked about one woman. And you went on and said, oh, he said this and he said that this was going on in Egypt. All right, so hold on a second here. For how can it be written without offer being sacrificed, who will not for this purpose destroy even animals except swine, bulls, without blemish, or how could Hercules and individual, I hope, however, that whatever I have introduced will not go offense either to gods or heroes. For I have before spoken, refuse to sacrifice goats of either sex out of reverence to Pan, whom their tradition. You said the Mendicians were who?
The goat of Mendes.
Hold on. You said the Mendicians were who?
Egyptians.
These Mendicians were Egyptians, right? And they had a god named Pan. Let me
Pan is the Greek. Pan is the Greek form. Remember, the Greeks got their mystery systems from the Egyptians. So just like you have Osiris and Horus, and you have Zeus and Prometheus and Hercules, and it's nothing but a repeat of the Egyptian mysteries cult system of phallic worship, or what they call worship of the penis. The Apis bull and the goat of Mendes, and it's all the same, bruh.
Nah.
Hey, sister, can I ask you a question?
Oh, no.
No. Come on, sister, let me ask you a question.
No.
A cardboard box. A cardboard box. You've had one, I'm sure, right?
Here's the book that you had. Here's the book that I think that you had.
Come on, sis.
Nope.
Okay.
And nope.
Okay.
I'm
Wait. Hold on.
listening.
Okay, hold on. While he's searching, let me read what is said, because he's avoiding this. It says, indeed, Herodotus tells us that in this day, something strange occurred in the province of Mendes. A goat had sex with a woman out in the open in front of an audience. Substantiating evidence suggests that Herodotus wasn't making this up or falling for some tour guide's tall story. The 5th century lyric poet Pindar, fragment 201, wrote about he-goats mounting women in Mendes. For example, there's a plaster cast from the province that depicts a goat mounting a human female, a turgo, apparently Egyptian woman, also sometimes exposed themselves to goats because goats were thought to bestow fertility. Regarding this interspecies goat coupling, one appalled 19th century commentator Pierre Henry Lacroix writes, nothing is more certain than the infamous custom of enclosing women with the goat of Mendes. The same thing, hold on, not done, because Garfield gonna try to skunk his way out of this, but there's none of that. There's none of that. Hold on. 1,000 authors speak of it, but we will draw a veil over these horrors. By a strange twist, the sacred goat of Mendes has come to be associated with the occult and Satanism. Okay, hold on. Let's keep it going. Watch this. In 1854, the occultist Eliphas Levi published a dogma and ritual, De la Haute Magi, in which he included his own drawing of a goat-headed human figure with cloven feet and wings that represented Baphomet, an idol allegedly worshipped by the Knights Templar, blah, blah, blah. Levi called the figure the Baphomet of Mendes, an apparent reference to Herodotus' discussion of goat worship in Mendes. This is where you have Baphomet, goat. Bruh! Wait. Hold on. We're not done. Wait. How do I get my screen back so y'all can see my face and see my book? Hold on. Hold on. Oh, here we go. Now, we know the white man, Esau, because he's I'm sorry, maybe it's this way. I'm sorry. You see that? Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. Let's go to page 108. Or I'm sorry, 181. If you get this, you can probably find this online too as well. Nimrod, who is the first ruler of the dynasty in Sumeria. But let's just hold on a sec. Sources. Remember, Freemasonry is the so-called white man's institution of academia, because what they call it, Freemasonry, is the study of science and such and such and such and such. Well, no problem. Let's hear what Esau and his science and knowledge has to say. Nimrod. It will astonish most students of masonry to learn that in the 18th century, the eldest son of Ham, who is heard of in scripture chiefly as a mighty hunter before the Lord, was not only regarded by the erudition of the period as founder of the Babylonian monarchy, Garfield, founder of the Babylonian monarchy, but was the Grand Master of all Masons and the builder of many cities in Shinar. Now, brother, what city is Shinar? Where's Shinar? That would be Sumeria. But you just keep on going there. Hold on.
I'm gonna tear that down in a minute. Go ahead.
Wait, hold on, brother. Hold on, brother. Wait a minute. Brother, Freemasonry is the white man's institution of academia and scholarship. Let's just keep it going, though, bro.
Okay. But you're reading scholarship right now. So what are you saying? You're reading what?
I'm reading. This Freemasonry is the white man's apex. This is his institution of academia. Like everyone, like anyone should know that. Like all the presidents, all the scientists and are always affiliated with this fraternity, where they supposedly just supposed to be a storehouse of a treasure house of knowledge. Well, we're just reading what Esau says, and he kind of backs up what I've been saying. But you won't let me finish. Hold on. He says, I need not speak of Asher, the son of Shem, who is credited with cities unnumbered, including Nineveh. It is Babylon which figures in the annals of this kind of Masonic belief, and there is, of course, the traditional sign of the royal arch looming in the foreground. The Babylonians are supposed to have advanced in geometry and astronomy beyond all other nations, Egypt apparently included. But Egypt apparently included. Wait, I wish I could make this bigger so y'all can read it yourself. You know, look at the bottom there. We see, hold on. Yeah, you probably can't see that. But just get page 181 in the white, a new encyclopedia of Freemasonry, the combined edition, 2 volumes in 1. Because see, we studied the white man's foolishness too. But clearly he says that the mystery systems and all that comes from Sumeria and predates Egypt. Just what we've been saying the whole time. Esau is telling you. Now, you can get another book called The Hierarchy. The Hierarchy, with more Edomite Masons telling you where they get their mystery systems from. They get some of it from the Egyptians with the phallic worship. They use the Israelites, Solomon's temple, though they don't use our furniture. They use the Egyptian and the Greek and Hindu and Brahmic furniture, or what they call the inside workings of the temple. So, since Garfield got smashed, he got smashed. This is the quote. This is the source. it said Babylon predates Egypt, and that, bro. Let me mute my mic so Brother Garfield can. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Sis, can you perform CPR on this, brother?
Here we go. All right, here we go.
CPR on this, brother, please.
All right, cool. All right. All right, good. Good job. All right, here we go. All right. Let me just bring this up real quickly here and just smash this and get it over with real fast.
Is that Wiki, bro?
Wiki what? This is my presentation about Wiki. I'm showing you primary sources. All right, first of all, we could do several things to know who predates who and whatever. I'm going to address everything that you just said little by little. All right, let's do this first. We are going to go to, all right, what is this right here? All right. Let me see here. All right. The earliest writing that we have in history is, by the way, 3300 BC, earliest evidence, right? Gunter Dreyer. The next earliest writing we have is from 5250, right? Which the Darnells fall. The Darnells from Yale, all right? That's the source. This is the source, New York Times. Early writing in King of Legend, Condon da 5250. It was found by Yale Egyptologist John Coleman Darnell and his wife, Deborah Darnell. The tableau, 18 to 20 inches, 3250, 150 years before the Nama palette. All right. And this is the Gunter Dryad. This is the source, earliest writing, right here. Okay. All right. Let's go to something real quickly here. I want to point out. Hold on a second here. This new way of interpreting science is called the rebus principle. Only a few examples of its use exist in the earliest stages of cuneiform from between 3200 and 3000 BC. The consistent use of this type of phonetic writing only becomes apparent after 2600 BC. It constitutes the beginning of a true writing system characterized by a complex combination. All right. So these folks that like to talk about who comes first, Sumer or whatever, whoever had writing first, you could basically use rebus principle, which I got out of what's his name book, Wajao's book. All right. So we deal with the whole writing situation. Now, this is 15,000 years ago, according to the National Geographic. Right? These are carvings of bulls and all that stuff, right? Carvings on the walls. Okay. These are more carvings and everything. And for people who study hieroglyphics and know how the writing came about, you know that the petroglyphs and the pictographs is what was the prerequisites to the writing system of Egypt. All right. Okay. And, you know, you could read at another time about the correlation. All right. Let me go into something here. The adaptation of cuneiform to written Akkadian. All right. Hold on. Let me break down something real quickly for you, Craig. Sumerian is a linguistic isolate because, like, for example, Etruscan or Basque, it is not related to any other known language. It is an agglutinative language in which words are inflected by stringing identifiable morphemes one after another before or after a given root that is invariant itself. Thus, for instance, in the sentence, da-da-da-da, the queen bore me, okay, Akkadian, unlike Sumerian, is related to other languages such as Hebrew and Aramaic. It is actually the earliest Semitic language attested, and it was employed until the 1st century AD. Again, let me repeat that. Akkadian is actually the earliest Semitic language attested, and it was employed until the 1st century AD. Akkadian was the language of ancient Babylonians and Assyrians, and includes both the Assyrian and Babylonian dialects. All right. I need to bring one more thing. All right, that's the cuneiform. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, this is very important. The date traditionally given for the invention of writing in Mesopotamia is 3200 BC, but this is more or less conventional. A precise date for the earliest cuneiform text has proved elusive, as virtually all the tablets were discovered in secondary archaeological contexts, specifically in rubbish heaps that defy accurate stratigraphic analysis. The sun-hardened clay tablets, having obviously outlived their usefulness, were used along with other waste such as potsherds, clay ceilings, and broken mud bricks as leveling the foundations of new construction. Consequently, it is impossible to establish when the tablets were written and used. So they don't know when none of this stuff what you mentioned with Sumeria or Mesopotamia happened. They don't know. They just said 32. They just throw a date out. All right? Okay. All right. Let's look at, let me see right here. Petroglyphs. All right. Let's look at, go and get to the nitty-gritty in a second here. All right. Let's look at Telesakan. This is the southern Levant in Egypt. They used to Egypt had a place that they occupied in the 4th millennium in Palestine. This is why in Lachish, the skulls, the cranium skulls resemble pre-dynastic Egyptians, because that's where pre-dynastic Egyptians used to live. They used to trade with that era till they built 4 different small colonies, and this was one in the southern Levant, Tel Es-Sakan. You could Google this on your own. All right. All right. Let me deal with Mr. Shinar in a second here. Hold on 1 second. All right. Let's see here. All right. Look at this. The Sumerians traded for gold and silver from Indus Valley, Egypt, Nubia, and Turkey. Ivory from Africa and the Indus Valley. All these different things from Turkey. And what I'm trying to show here, raw blocks of lapis lazuli are thought to have been brought from Afghanistan by donkey and foot. The point I'm making by reading this is that there was no raw materials in Mesopotamia. So nobody could have come from there. It's silly to think that. They had no raw materials. They had to import it. Now look at what ancient encyclopedia says about these Amorites and these Sumerians. Terah's family were not Sumerian. They have long been identified with the very people, the Amaru or Amorites, whom Mesopotamia traditionally blamed for Ur's downfall. William Hallow, professor of Assyriology at Yale University, confirms that growing linguistic evidence based chiefly on the recorded personal names of persons identified as Amorites shows that the new group spoke a variety of Semitic ancestral to late Hebrew, Aramaic, and Phoenician. What is more, as depicted in the Bible, the details of the patriarch's tribal organization, naming conventions, family structure, customs of inheritance and land tenure, genealogical schemes, and other vestiges of nomadic life are too close to the more laconic evidence of the cuneiform records to be dismissed out of hand as late fabrications. All right. For those who don't know what that is, I'll explain to you basically this. All right. This is, you know what? Let me skip all of that. Let's go to this. He says he's from Chaldea, right? Abraham is from Ur of Chaldea. Chaldea and Babylon are separate places in the Assyrian account. Ashurnapal was also confronted by the Confederates. A 10-sided prism dated to 636 BC, primary account, gives an account of his early campaigns, which include a defeat of Elam, one of the allies, in the 5th campaign, and in the 6th campaign, he fought a confederacy of Elam, the Arabs of the desert, Babylon, and the Chaldeans. Now, if Babylon was the same place as the Chaldeans, or the Chaldeans were the same as the Babylonians, it wouldn't be recorded separately. Now, Babylon, check this out, just to show and prove some more. Now, Babylon was ruled by his own brother, Shamash Shumakin, at the wish of their father, Esarhaddon. And he had risen against his brother with the allies, yet Babylon is distinguished from Chaldea among the allies, and the Chaldeans are plainly not the Arabs of the desert. So Chaldea and Babylon is 2 different places, and this is before Babylon started ruling. Babylon Empire started ruling. Hold on, brother. Let me finish something real quickly. Hold on, brother. I got to bring something. I got to bring it all together. All right. Now, if we read A History of Israel by John Bright, page 78, again, the source, the names of Abraham's forebears and relatives are closely related to the names of ancient towns in northern Mesopotamia. and specifically in the general region of Haran. Thus, Nahar, the name of Abraham's grandfather and father, closely resembles the name of the town in the region known at Mari as Nakor, and in Assyrian texts as Nakor and Til Nakiri. Assyrian cuneiform texts also refer to Til Turaki, Terah, Abraham's father, and Sarugi, Serug, a great-grandfather of Abraham in this region. There's also a Faligi, Peleg, nearby. Jacob occurs in an 18th century BC text from Chakar Bazar, Upper Mesopotamia, referring to Yaqub El, which is all over that region, by the way, the Syrian region, Yaqub El. All right? Now, hold on, brother. I'm about to be finished in a second. I'm proving to you two things. One, you can't be a Chaldean. He couldn't have come from from Chaldea, because Chaldea is not there. It's not in Babylon. Is there because means city. But Urfa has a tradition, and it's that where the tradition is. All right. What we seem to have found are foundation legends of people from North Syria around the modern city of Edessa, Urfu, and Haran, who were wrestling the Palestinian hills. These people were Arameans, but included Chaldeans from Urartu, the country that had ruled them for a century or two. When Urfa was of the Chaldees, ancient stories about a real king, Ibram, over 1,000 years before, were mythologized into a foundation myth of the people across the river, Ibonari, and was taken by the deportees into Yehud when the Persians transported them into Palestine. I'm going to show a map real quick for the audience. And this is the map. You see this map right here? Look at the map and look at this map. You see Chaldea is right here. It's near Turkey. That's where Chaldea is. So he could claim Abraham and the tradition all he wants, but Chaldea, I just proved with a primary source that Chaldea and Babylon is two different places. If you want to say stuff come from Babylon, Babylon is a new place. Babylon is new. Sumer, and I just proved this. Hold on, one more proof I'm going to bring to you real quickly here. One more proof. In 1974, the American anthropologist Fred Wendorf has accidentally discovered one of the most important prehistoric sites in the Nile Valley. The area falls west of the Nile in the Libyan desert near the Sudanese border with Egypt. Using artifacts and mound structures, Wendorf and his team have dated the site to as far back as 11,000 to 9,300 years ago. Now, the artifacts indicate that the Napta inhabitants built houses, civilization, dug wells, civilization, and manufactured items including stone tools, weapons, and pottery. Come on, brother. Evidence suggests that the Napta community has adopted a complex and centralized culture. Come on, and this is from this guy's book, Holocene Settlement of the Egyptian Sahara, Volume 1, by Fred Wendorf. All right? You can argue with hearsay and say that that the Sumerians were first, but this is where it came from. Let's look at where it actually came from. It came from this guy. William Flinders Petrie is the one that came up with the dynastic race theory and said that people from Mesopotamia came to Egypt. He's the one that invented it. But let's look at what he said. He said that a mixed Libyan, High Libyan, and Syrians were the ones that came into Egypt and did whatever, right? This is what he said. All right. Most historians have suggested that Petrie's theories owed more to 19th century European colonial ideas than reality, suggesting that the dynastic race he identified were actually just native Egyptians. Interestingly, Petrie himself eventually acknowledged that he was wrong. So Judah, you and Zion is not agreed on by nobody agrees with y'all that Sumer came before Egypt. This is some white man that made this up. Some Esau that you talk about, Petrie, made it up.
Can I go?
When he made it up, hold on a second. His interpretation discouraged by the 19th century geologist Jean Morgan to mean that artifacts temporarily assigned to Honduras could actually be traced back to the pre-dynastic period. So let me just show you his rebuttal and why he changed his mind. The problems with the dynastic race theory, Mary Lefkowitz, Black Athena Revisited. This is what she did. The first evidence that ancient Egyptians' earliest connections were indeed to prehistoric Saharan African people. The excavations reveal that the Badians were poorly acquainted with the Nile Valley's limestone cliffs and the rich flint deposit, but they fashioned their stone tools and weapons from surface collected flints. All right. Now, this is where he rebutted. He actually took his thought back. You go to Chalice's work. This is from The Elephant in the Room, Confronting Peach's Racism by Tristan Samuel from the University of Toronto. Chalice also does not specify anti-black racism as a fundamental presupposition in Peach's eugenic thinking. For example, Chalice argues that Peach's abandonment of his new race or the dynastic race theory for the Nakada 1 population of Kemet showed that Petrie corrected his views when solid archaeological evidence was presented, and that his mistake was result of racial thinking. Page 171. One last point, brother. One last point. I already showed that Sumer, according to the Metropolitan Museum, there was nothing here in the south, 8000 BC. Nothing here in Mesopotamia. You can believe Mesopotamia is first if you want to, but the facts remain that, I mean, if you look, that's a picture of what it looks like now. The facts remain that these things that you're spewing right now, and what, by the way, I am man enough to say, you know what? Herodotus wrote it, and of course it was related to the god Ptah, which is not real. So God, he knows. I got to read the whole quote to really get the gist of it. But this is what was built in Sudan 15,000 years ago. This is Afad 23. Anybody can look it up. So when they talk about Gobel Tepe, you bring this up. We already
Where's the time machine? Where's the time machine?
You cannot say time machine because you're trying to how do you date that Sumeria is first? What are you using as a criteria? So now you got to throw out your whole argument.
No,
what
I
is
don't.
your criteria? Tell me, what is your criteria? We don't have no time machine. We have history. World history. So world history from when? Show me. All right, show me. All right,
not precise. Not precise dates, brother.
Show me the world history. What is the world history that you're using? Show me. Just show me the world history.
The Torah is one.
The Torah was written when? When was the Torah written?
We don't know.
Hey, I'm asking a question. So how could the Torah be used?
We don't.
If the Torah, so if you don't know, you just throw out your first evidence. What else do you have?
Well,
what else do you have?
No.
What else do you have?
Because your greatest. Well, let me show you a picture now. That's just so I can do my screen share.
No. I want you to tell me why the Torah should be used.
Because your institutions of scholarship are using the Torah.
No, they are not.
For their foundation.
No, they are not.
They are.
No, this is why they hate Finkelstein. Finkelstein only evidence. He doesn't use the Bible.
Okay, whoa. Now let me show. You guys see this book here? This book is called The Hiram Key. The Hiram Key. You see that, right?
Hiram Key. Why is Hiram Key a source to use? Why is it qualified as a source? Well, I'm asking the question. Why is the Hiram Key a source?
The author, brother, can I speak, brother? Christopher Knight.
You're talking about a Masonic book that's all about conspiracy, bro. This is why you're off, bro.
Conspiracy, bro.
You gotta use scholars in the field.
Look. It's a picture of Qumran with the area of the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, if this is false,
who said it's false? I never said that.
Guys.
I never said that.
Hold on. If this is false, then so are these guys. And these guys are Egyptian mummies.
What are you talking about?
Kind of look like,
who said?
Like East Indians.
What is false? What is false? Hold on. What is false?
I just explained to you. Hold on. Let me get my screen share. Hold on.
What is false?
Hold on. I'm going to show you, bro. Hold on. This guy here, you guys see him? You guys see that guy there? This guy's statue's in Washington, D.C.
So what does that have to do with anything?
What do you mean? Well, what do you mean? The institutions of higher learning all love this guy. He's the go-to guy.
So you're a conspiracy theorist.
He's the guy that knew 7 languages, apparently.
Okay.
He revised the whole Masonic system.
I asked you a question. I asked you one simple question. How do you know Sumeria predates Egypt?
Well, we can go by the people that you go by. They said themselves that Sumeria.
Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Who?
Okay, let me show you a picture of the guy real quick.
You don't have to show me a picture. Just tell me who. A new encyclopedia of Freemasonry cannot be used. You got to
That guy right there.
Bring me a scholar. Bring me a scholar.
This guy is a scholar. He just wrote this whole. He wrote 2 volumes.
Bring me a scholar, bro. Bring me a scholar in the field of archaeology and history. No.
This guy
bring
here.
me a scholar, brother. Bring me a scholar.
Freemasonry is the highest level of academia of the so-called white man's system.
Mind.
Yes,
in
yes,
your
yes.
mind.
In your mind. Okay. Let me ask a question.
Judah, this is useless, bro. Bro, this is useless.
Come on, Garfield, brother. Come on, brother.
Research. You gotta have a methodology. I'm asking you a simple question. All right. What did he provide? Hold on. Stop. What did he provide as proof? I'm a teacher.
America was founded on Freemasonry.
Hold on. Let me teach you how to research. But fuck Freemasonry. Fuck that. This is what I'm asking you. What is his source? What is his source? Hold on. How did he come to a conclusion? Not I'm going to tell you. You can't repeat crackers. You got to show me how. You got to show me what methodology he used and how he got to that conclusion. I'm going to
tell you.
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you.
Go ahead.
I'm going to tell you.
Evidence. What's the first evidence?
You cannot say F Freemasonry when the institutions and the authors and things that you're quoting from, institutions are founded upon Freemasonry, which created America. They created America.
Okay. Conspiracy theory 101. Okay. Judah Natsara is in Japan. How would I come to that conclusion? How would I come to that conclusion? You're in Japan.
Anyone knows.
I don't know where you are right now. I don't know where you are. I don't know where you are. I don't know where you are. I don't know where you are right now. How do I know that you're in Japan right now? How would I come to that conclusion? One, you'd have to give me a number. One, you'd have to give me. No. One, you'd have to give me a phone number to call you. That's how I would know. That's one evidence. Two, you could go in front of the Japan thing and go on live on Google Hangouts and say, see, this is a great Tokyo building right here. That's proof that you're in Japan. You need a methodology, brother.
You're getting smashed, bro.
Brother, you need a methodology. Smashed, bro. No, you're not getting smashed because you don't know how to research.
This is Washington, D.C.
I don't care. My brother, I don't care. I'm asking you, how do you date? Hold on. How do you, bro? Stop, bro. Stop.
Getting smashed. Garfield.
I asked one simple question.
And I told you.
Do you know
Freemasonry is the institution of higher learning.
Judah. I'm asking you one question.
I just answered you like 1,000 times.
Do you know Sumer predates Egypt? Give me the evidence. Where is the evidence?
The mystery system.
The mystery system is the evidence. Now, how could the mystery system be the evidence, brother? The mystery system.
Egypt's mystery system. Egypt's mystery system. Let me finish. Egypt's mystery system.
I'm going to ask.
Egypt's mystery. Bro, how can I answer your question if you won't let me?
Again, brother.
Egypt's mystery system.
You don't understand methodology and how to come to a conclusion. I'm going to ask you a question.
You're saying,
my brother, don't interrupt me. Let me talk. Hold on a second.
They're talking the whole time.
Hold on a second. And nobody said Kemet was the first civilization, Christian Velez. Nobody said that. That Sumer predates Kemet's civilization. I gave physical evidence where you could track it. His defense is, oh, you trusted Esau's timeline. You don't have a clock. Now, I'm saying, if he's saying you don't have a clock, I want him to show me back in time. If he doesn't have a clock, he just defeated his own argument. He just killed his own argument. So I'm saying to the brother, I don't care about Freemasonry. This is me and you talking. What I'm trying to find out is, how did the person who you're quoting got to that conclusion? That's all I'm asking. Where is the evidence?
The same way you did, by archaeology, by travel, by study, by contrast, by comparison. They're doing the same thing. Just like I told you, Freemasonry is the highest institute the white man has for instituted learning. You're saying, okay, well, this author said this, blah, 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 blah. But wait a minute. They don't have that guy's statue in Washington, D.C. They have Albert Pike's statue in Washington, D.C. He's the quote-unquote go-to guy for academia, according to the white man's school system. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're picking like random authors and being like, well, this is this guy's suggestion and theory. Well, wait a minute. We all know that even the leaders of America and Japan too, which is little America,
All right. To
The
you
leaders are
supporters,
in
to
this
you, all right,
institution.
stop right there. Stop right there. I'm gonna do one thing. I'm gonna share my screen, all right? I'm gonna show these guys in the audience one thing. Now, you're saying Freemasonry runs the world, right? I'm gonna show my screen again.
It runs America.
It runs America. Okay. Look at this, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. I'm gonna show this for the 100th time. I'm gonna show this. This is the Metropolitan Museum, who is controlled by Freemasonry, allegedly. They say, the white man says, there was nothing in Mesopotamia, Sumer. There was nothing there. There was nothing there. It's right here on their map. How much clearer can I be? And Judah keeps repeating the same thing, although I'm bringing this evidence clear as day to him. How can I debate somebody who doesn't have basic common sense on what a scholarship is? This is ridiculous. And then when you go here, stop, brother, don't interrupt, because I made you talk for 2 minutes a while ago. I didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt. Now, you talk about smashing me, right? Now, right here, this is when people started coming into the Sumerian area. And I'm going to prove one point with Sumer real quickly. I'm going to show you guys who like to support Judah. Judah, you're not a good researcher. And if you need somebody to show you how to research, I'll teach you. But don't come at me when I bring you on my channel to show you something. Yes, you were right about the goats and the coat with Herodotus. I'll give you that. But he was talking about Ptah, who is not a real person. So you have to take that into context and think. Instead of us taking the quote like some of these gay-ass people who like to take these quotes and say, hey, this means he's gay. This means he's gay. I'm going to show you something about gay too in a minute. If you guys really like to talk about gays and bestiality. Let's take a look at this Mesopotamian word for a second. I'm gonna show you something real quickly. Because people got to understand, it's not about you're on Judah's side because he's a Hebrew. Let's forget about the fact he's a Hebrew. Because I'm looking at your information like I don't know you. Like you're not my friend on Facebook. I'm not looking at it as, you know what, I'm cool with him. I'm looking at it to learn. So let's look at the angle and stop looking at it from a biased point of view and look at it from, what you call it. When I read this a while ago about a city, and that's go back to 11,000 years ago, which is 9,000 BC, that predates Sumer. So Sumer could not be before Egypt. This is logics. This is not magic jack. This is not no hocus pocus. This is common sense. We got to stop, bro. Not because we want to be right. We got to think.
Now,
hold on a second. Hold on a second. The origins and role of same-sex relations in human societies. I guess you didn't know about this. That the Mesopotamia was an openly gay society. You didn't know this. It was an openly gay society. They have letters, brother. They got letters from the King Hammurabi. His wife said that he was a bisexual and the king of Mary. So homosexual was prevalent. And I'm going to prove to you how it was now. Look at this.
I believe it.
Look at this. An Assyrian astrological text which deals with the effect of the stars on potency and lovemaking includes verses indicating that the region of Libra is auspicious for the love of a man for a woman, Pisces for the love of a woman for a man, and I hope my boy on the line right now is not a Scorpio, but a Scorpio, they say, has the love for a man for a man. So this society was a known homosexual society. Known. If a man has other religious tablets, hold on, and let's look at this too. It's not no hide and seek type of stuff. Other religious tablets have been found which contain texts referring to homosexual relations, such as if a man has intercourse with his male companion. Lesbian relationship between women are also mentioned in similar texts in context that suggests they were all so commonplace. The reference is in these texts to homosexual love alongside and in the same context as reference to heterosexual love show that same-sex relations must have been a commonly accepted aspect of daily life and that to the Mesopotamians, the sexual love of a man for a man was seen as legitimate alternative to love between men and women. So Mesopotamia, this is where you want to claim Abraham came from? Really? Let me finish on.
And the Most High said for him to get out of there.
Let me finish. Most High ain't saying not a damn thing. Let me finish. Let me show you something real quick about the word Mesopotamia. The Greek word Mesopotamia, country between rivers, is used for the first time by the historian Arian of Nicomedia in his account of the campaigns of Alexander the Great. He uses older sources, and Arian applies the expression to what is now eastern Syria and northern Iraq. Did you hear what I just said? Eastern Syria and northern Iraq was Mesopotamia. That means that where Sumer was not even Mesopotamia. That kills your whole argument today. Your whole entire argument is null and void now. In other words, Arian refers to the part that is now called Caesarea. The first to use the word to indicate southern Iraq too was Pliny the Elder. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, the map of Sumer, this is on the map here. This map here did not include from right here. You see where Baghdad is? From Baghdad down was not included in Mesopotamia. It wasn't considered Mesopotamia until the first century AD, until the first century BC. So him saying Mesopotamia, to me, we go back to the historical accounts and we see up here is Mesopotamia. Up here. Now this part from Baghdad down, we have Kish, Nippur, Uruk, Ur, all these places, Babylon, was never, and I repeat, never considered Chaldea, was never considered Mesopotamia. There's no such thing as southern Mesopotamia until the first century BC. Pliny the Elder said it. So this his whole argument based on Mesopotamia, I already proved that Babylon and Chaldea is two different places by the records, the primary sources of the Assyrians. That again kills your argument. This kills your argument. I'm showing you sources, brother. Primary sources.
So am I, and you're discounting.
No, you're not. You're not showing the primary sources.
My sources are higher than yours.
What is the primary source?
Albert Pike.
What is the primary source?
Albert Pike. Albert Pike statues in Washington, D.C.
You see, I just showed you something. You don't know what a primary source is.
See,
how can Albert Pike be a primary source?
Won't let me talk.
Hold on. Judah, quick question. Quick question. Don't answer anything else. What is a primary source?
Freemasonry. That's my primary source. The highest level of learning in academia in America.
Again, brother.
I just told you. Wait. So y'all. Right. So I asked. So I answered this question.
Don't say another word. Don't say another word. Don't say another word. Don't say another word. Hold on a second. Where
did Amin Ra come from?
Hold on a second. Where
did Amin Ra come from?
I don't know. Hold on a second. What
do you mean you don't know?
Hold on a second. Brother. Hold on a second. Don't say a word. I have to teach you. I have to teach you because you're letting your ego get in your way, brother. And I'm being very humble. I don't even smash. I don't even care if I smash you. It's not about that. It's about the information. So now let me just share my screen so that the audience could learn and your friends who are Hebrews also learn what a primary source is. Because this is very important. No. Listen, Judah, put your ego aside. I don't care if I smashed you a while ago. I don't care about none of that. Smash it. Because they know Hebrew could really smash me. I don't really worry about that. All right?
Wiki,
the primary source. Yes. This is a good definition.
Not scholarly, bro.
Stop. In the study of history as an academic discipline, a primary source, also called the original source or evidence, is an artifact, a document, diary, manuscript, autobiography, a recording, or other source of information that was created at the time under the study. So if we are studying about a certain word, Mesopotamia, we have to find the root of that term, who first used it. And what I showed you on livius.org is the first person ever to use the term Mesopotamia. And that was in 4th century BC. The guy was writing about Alexander the Great. 4th century BC. The first time it was considered to be southern Mesopotamia, where Sumer is one in the 1st century BC. That's the primary source of the information. I just showed that. So when you said Albert Pike is a primary source, that shows me you don't understand the historical method. Even if you want to say they're Freemasonry, you have to learn how to use a methodology, bro. You can't just read a book and say it's true. You got to find where the root is. That's all I'm saying, brother to you. It's not
Okay,
about
now can I
smashing
talk, please?
Garfield and
No,
you smashing me. I'm just trying to teach you something, brother,
no,
because
bro,
honestly, you don't know what a primary source is.
bro.
Go ahead, brother.
You are trying to discount the foundation of your academic foundation.
Okay.
You can't dismiss that, bro. Like your school systems are founded on the foundation of American Freemasonry. Just like America was founded on the principles of Freemasonry. When they designed America, they did it according to Freemasonic principles. So that's why Albert Pike is in Washington, D.C. Now, you can't pick Mr. No Name Jones that no one's ever heard of, that no one reveres, that can just make up anything he wants. When we have a volume with multiple volumes, I'll go get more books, more. They'll tell you flat out. They told you Sumeria predates Egypt. Now, I asked you, I said, where? Oh, first off, you said that means city. Does not mean city. Awar means light. Now, Mesopotamia is a Greek word. It was called Sumeria or Shamarwan. It means people who were like looking at the stars. Stargazers is pretty much what it means. Now, let me answer this. Chaldea and ancient Babylon, like Chaldea, what we say in Hebrew, Kashadayim, and the newer Babylon with Nebuchadnezzar are two different time periods. The first one, Sumeria, predates Egypt, which is where you get Nimrod, you get your mystery systems from. Now, I will agree with you. I believe that all types of effery was going on in that time. That's why Yah told Abraham to get out of there, because he came into Canaan and they were doing it too. The same thing. Same thing they were doing in Egypt. Having sex with animals, homosexuality, bestiality, all freakism. Now, you cannot dismiss the foundation of American academia and just brush that aside and then pick some random author who had some theory. Like, clearly, Freemasonry is an institution that's worldwide. The top scholars, the top scientists, freaking NASA itself is a Freemasonic institution who reveres Albert Pike. So you can't say, now, I asked you a question. I said, where did Amun-Ra come from? And you just brushed it aside and said, I don't know. But I had given you before that Amun-Ra, for you, brother Ankh too, Ankh-Ket, yes, your God comes from Hinduism, okay? He's not from the original Enid. He's from the line of Thebes, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, hold on a second. Hold on one second.
See, look at Garfield.
Hold on. I'm not cutting you off.
People, do y'all hear this? Y'all see this?
You are not going to say anything on my channel unless you have a primary source for it. Now, I want you to post the primary source for Amun-Ra coming from Hindu right now. If not, don't repeat it.
Google
I
image.
don't deal with hearsay, bro. And let me say something before you say, I'm going to continue.
Google image is seeing. Google is seeing, not hearing.
Google image. Listen, brother. Your research is whack, yo. And I'm being nice right now. You're a grown man in Japan, brother. I'm going to teach you something. You cannot come on the ear. Hold on. You can smash you.
That's why you're trying to overtalk me, because I'm killing you.
No. I'm going to let you talk. Everything you say, I want you to show the audience. Hold on. Brother. I want you to show the primary source for Amun-Ra coming from India. That's all I'm asking. Don't say another word. Show us the evidence. Show us the evidence. That's all I'm asking. I'm not disrespecting you. I'm not talking over you. I'm asking you to show me the evidence. Don't say another word about anything else, because all you're doing is blabbering, hearsay, and irresponsible scholarship. I don't do that. That's why I showed my presentation and sources so people could see it. I don't hide my scholarship. I show where I got my stuff from. So I'm asking you just to give me and my audience the same respect. That's all I'm saying. You cannot say Amun-Ra comes from some Hindu god or Hindu whatever. That's gossip. That's hearsay. That's not scholarship. I want you to show and prove the truth.
Now, I just showed you a picture. Pictures were worth a... Wait. Garfield likes to show pictures.
Just show me where the source is. Just show me. That's all.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Who is the original Egyptian lineup of gods?
Who is the lineup?
Who are they? The nine. Who are they?
I don't know.
Well, bro, how can you argue with me if you don't know, bro?
I just want you. I don't care right now.
In the morning,
because
bro.
That's not the
point. You got me
point.
wasting my time.
No,
You're wasting
you
my time,
can't
bro.
show
With
the
this.
evidence.
I just
You can't show
smashed
the
you.
evidence. You can't say it,
You're,
bro.
you're quoting Greek people. Greeks.
Asking you a
I
question.
went to Greeks.
I'm asking you a simple question, brother. Can you show me the evidence of Amen-Ra coming from the Hindus? That's all. What is so hard about that? You could smash me all day. I don't care. Put the information. I'm going to show you how to come to a conclusion. Because what you're doing is irresponsible scholarship. I don't do that. Everything I talk about, I have to show where I get it from. So if you want to Google some little website, you have to show me the primary source for that. So I'm going to show you how to research, brother. And that's what we got to do. And to the Israelites who are watching, you have to be responsible with the information you come out with. Conspiracy theories don't do it.
Can I say something, please?
You got to show the primary source, bro. Because you're being irresponsible on my channel. I can't allow that.
Garfield, you are trying to use a quote unquote collegiate way of debating. Just knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is going to compare, contrast, and read it.
Bro, there's no commission we're debating. I'm asking
bro. If I ask you where does Amen-Ra come from, and you say I don't know, see, look, you won't let me talk. If I say where's Amen-Ra, bro, he didn't come out of nowhere, bro. Like Amen-Ra is the same so-called sun god named Merodach from Babylon. It's the same one.
Okay, I've heard that. I've heard that argument. Okay. I've heard it before, brother. But can you show me? Okay. All right, hold on. Stop.
You're gonna say, show me a primary source.
Stop.
Hold on, hold on.
Stop.
Garfield say, show me a primary source.
Listen.
But yet still, not show me a time machine.
Bro, we're not talking about time machine.
Come on, Garfield. Come on, man.
I am asking you to show me Amen-Ra in India before Amen-Ra is in Egypt. It's easy.
Who is the Enid in Egypt?
I don't know. What the nine Enids? I don't know.
You argue with me then, bro.
It doesn't matter. I'm right here. I want you to prove it to me.
Yeah,
prove it to me.
Cyrus, Set,
Fine. That's fine. But show me,
not there,
brother. Show me. You get the.
All right, Garfield, I gotta go, bro, because you're messing around, bro.
You see what I'm talking about? Bro, I asked you to show me.
I showed you. I said, who is the original Egyptian lineup? You said, I don't know. If you don't know, you have no room to argue. Like that's just. Hold on a second. Hold on one second.
I gotta go, Garfield. I gotta go. Do you believe in the pyramid text? Do you believe in the pyramid text?
No.
I'm saying not believe. Do you believe that it's a real text? That's what I mean. Do you accept it as a real text? A real writing?
Someone wrote it down?
Yeah. Do you have a writing that predates the pyramid text that says that out of India? This is simple.
No, I'm not Indian. No, I have no.
So how are you gonna draw the conclusion?
Because there are Indians, but there are Indians out there who have it. There's
no writing that predates the pyramid text, bro.
Okay, wait.
This is basic.
Wait. I know it is basic. Garfield's trying to convince the public of a dead society history as opposed to a living one, what they're still doing today. Indus Valley, Nile Valley are the same. It's the same. Flat out. Even Sarasut and Seti will even tell you that, and Shaka Amos. They've even explained this themselves. So he's trying to tell you about a dead society that no longer exists, while there is a living society that's still doing the same customs. And he's like, well, show me a source. Bruh, go study Hinduism. Then you can get your answers to ancient Egypt. It's all 360. There's nothing new under the sun. You can't dismiss the highest academia of America, American academia. You can't dismiss that and say, well, show me a primary source.
Bruh, I'm not dismissing.
That's all you've been doing the whole time.
I'm asking you to show me. Just show me. Just show me where.
What is this?
Where
this is a book.
Where's the information coming from? Where's it coming from, bro? Oh, it's coming from a book. It's coming from a book, bro.
Yeah, just like you've been showing. You've been showing me books. You've been showing me books of authors with theories.
Can you tell me what the author's
theoretical dates?
Okay.
You've not shown me a time machine where they went back in there and or they asked somebody 5,000, 17,000 years ago, hey, did this start there? You cannot. That's a theory that you're bringing.
All right, Judah. What you're saying is also a theory, brother.
No, it's
saying that you're saying. Listen to me. Listen, Judah. Stop, Judah. Stop doing it.
Garfield,
Stop.
you're getting
Stop
smashed, bro.
Stop. Yeah, I'm getting smashed. That's fine.
You are.
All right.
Name the 7 world ruling nations of the world.
7 world nations. Don't come with that biblical
ruling nations.
Stop the biblical garbage, bro. Stop for me.
No, this isn't biblical. This is historical.
You asked a question. No, it's not.
I didn't say from the Bible.
I said name the 7. No. We're not changing the subject. Bro. We're not changing the subject. I want
answering any questions, bro.
No, bro.
Answering.
You see, you can't.
That's okay. Wait.
Judah, you cannot answer. That's why, brother.
I answered you.
Oh my God, man.
I said you cannot dismiss the highest plateau of American academia and then say some random author.
Who's the highest of academia? Who's that?
White Freemasonry is the institution of academia in America and in England. All of your top everything is in Freemasonry. So you can't just say, oh, well, that doesn't matter. No, it does matter. It's your foundation. That's the only foundation you have. If you take away that, you're just talking.
Can I ask you a simple question, brother? All right, this is what I want from you. You said, and tell me if I'm wrong, that Amun-Ra, the god, who is mentioned in the pyramid text, by the way, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I think is in the Unas or whatever text. I don't remember. But anyway, Amun-Ra is mentioned in the pyramid text, which could go back to like around 3000 BC, right? Now, you don't believe in time machines.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
Yeah, yes, they can, because you know what? You know how they know, the pyramid text actually, the oldest they found is 2400 BCE, but it could be dated because the way it's being rewritten, the text is being rewritten. It shows that it's been around for a while, so they give it an estimate of like 3000 BC. I'll agree with you. Forget about 3000 BC. Let's go with 2400 BC. This is 4400 years ago. I'm asking you a question. Can you provide a text from India that shows Amun-Ra in India? That's all I'm asking, bro.
Yes.
Hold on. Just a second. Before you hold on, brother.
Study Krishna. That's all you have to do. Listen, all that other mess is just a distraction.
Brother. All I asked for you. You know what I just did? I just showed you the pyramid text talking about Amun-Ra, talking about Amen. Okay. Talking
and I told you that India
talking about Shu and Tefnut, talking about the goddess Tem, talking about the fifth dynasty, and of course you talk about them being the primeval gods and so forth, and then of course you have
So this means that ancient India, like I said before.
All right, I'm asking you, can you show me a text that predates this? That's all, brother.
Where's Amun-Ra in the Aeonid?
I don't know, brother. I'm talking about the pyramid text.
See, that's called blade work, bro.
It's called the Enid.
You can't go into a court. You can't go into a court.
It's called the Enid.
You can't go into a court with that.
If I don't know,
get dismissed.
Brother.
You can't go into a court. The judge is gonna say, where's Amun-Ra in the original lineup of Karnak? And
I don't know what was he.
You can't say I don't know. He's gonna say case dismissed.
Okay, fine. I'm asking you a question. Stop running, bro. Bro, you're running. You're getting in a classroom right now.
I'm working in a judicial.
Because brother,
really?
The pyramid.
Where does Amun-Ra come from?
Show me where Amun-Ra comes from.
Where does Amun-Ra come from?
It comes from India. Show me.
I put a picture up, bro.
The picture is not a dating picture. Show me a writing, brother.
So I have to go to India and
no, you need to check your source that you're using. It's called pseudo.
What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about,
brother? It's called pseudo.
Yes. Is Amun-Ra blue? Is Amun-Ra blue?
And Enid is a Greek term, by the way. Why are you using a Greek term? You just argued me about using a Greek author. You're using a Greek term, Enid. Why are you using a Greek term, Enid? Why are you using a Greek term, Enid?
And you've been using Greek all day. Mesopotamia is a Greek word.
But the point, because that's where the word came from.
Palestine is a Greek word.
Because it came from them.
No, it didn't. What do you mean? Oh, so the white men created everything.
No, they didn't.
Well,
the point of the matter
is, that's just saying. You admitted they were already pharaohs.
I'm gonna go back again, and I'm gonna ask you: can you provide a writing before 4,400 years ago that says Amun-Ra came from India? That's all.
No, I'm not going to.
Show me Amun-Ra in India before. That's all.
I'm going to use logic and compare contrast.
That is basic.
Where is Amun-Ra in the original lineup of the Egyptian gods? You can't. If you say I don't know.
What do you mean by the original lineup? What do you mean? No. Explain
the Aeonid, as they call it, which Aeonid means 9. Where is
Ennead is
Amun-Ra?
9,
Amun-Ra is a later god
which is a
of
Greek
ancient Egypt.
terminology. Hold on a second. Yes,
Okay,
it's a group
okay.
of 9.
What's
It's a
the
group of 9
Egyptian?
deities. Hold
What is the
on.
Egyptian word
Let
for
me
9?
answer,
What's
Negro. Come
What's the
on.
Egyptian word for 9, please?
For what? For 9?
Can we get the Egyptian word for 9?
I don't know. I don't speak Egyptian.
I want proof. Well, wait a minute. So you can't. I gotta go. You just got smashed. I gotta go. Thank you,
Look at him
Garfield.
running.
You can't be playing games, bro. You can't be playing games, bro.
Funny.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is funny, yo. This is funny. Oh yeah, let me I got my brother want to come in, man. Let me send him the link. It's so funny. Oh my God. This is so funny, man. This is hilarious. This is hilarious. I can't believe this, man. Let me send it to what's his name, said he want the link. This is crazy. I can't believe this. I can't believe this, man. Oh my God, this is so funny, man. This is funny. I just sent it to you, Sanjay. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, Danny? I can't believe this, man. I can't. I've never seen nothing like this in my life. Oh my God, I am dying right now. I'm dying with laughter, man. Oh my, you see, this is the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever somebody comes to you with an argument, he claimed that the Egyptians were sleeping with goats. But when I looked at a primary of the story, he's talking about Ptah and what Ptah would put on the people for whatever. So it's a story. So I'm going to have to go back and read the story. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but to accept that and say that all the women in Egypt were doing this and that, come on, man. We got to do better than that, man. We got to do better. We got to do better. You know, Judah, Natsara, listen, bruh, I smashed the whole Mesopotamia argument. Sumer was never known as Mesopotamia until Pliny the Elder. And that's the bottom line. It wasn't recognized in history. Nobody was talking about it. The bottom line is, when you have information, ladies and gentlemen, you got to bring primary sources. You can't just say, hey, B, C, D, E, F, G. You got to bring sources. I don't mind the conspiracy talk, man. Peace, Sanjay. And brother, my late condolences, man. I heard about your father, and that's my condolences out to you and your family. All right. How you doing, by the way, brother?
Hey, peace.
Peace, man. My condolences to you and your family, brother, for your loss. You know, I just heard 2 days ago. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I know you heard some information and you got perturbed, man. I know you just want to jump in and say, "Oh, man." You see? Yeah. Go ahead, though, brother. Go ahead. I'm gonna mute my mic.
So, you know, I just came from the store and I had my phone in my pocket, so I think, you know, the screen came on and then the phone moving around. So I don't know, like the buttons got hit, so it went straight to your show. So I'm getting out the car, all of a sudden I'm hearing your voice. I'm like, I didn't push nothing. So then, you know, that's how I heard the show. And then I was hearing how it's a claim that Amun-Ra comes from the Hindu. Okay, so I'm like, I'm listening to it and I'm like, okay, let me get in this conversation because, you know, I've been away for a while. And is the brother still on?
Nah, he ran.
Oh man, can you get him back in?
Nah, he don't want to be on because he can't answer the question. He's gonna go on his Facebook and say, "I smashed Garfield," and all this craziness. Now that's what he's gonna say. But the truth of the matter is, he doesn't know how to research. So when I asked him what a primary source is, he said like Albert Pike. So then I had to pull up the definition and show him what a primary source is. Because what people lack is they don't know how to research. So anything they read, he's all the way in Japan. That's where he is. He's a Hebrew Israelite that I actually like. I like him, but he's kind of on the crazy side. But you know, he came and he said Sumer predates Egypt. So I basically, you know, showed him how it couldn't have predated Egypt and all that stuff. But the whole thing is, we are getting influenced by all these other cultures, but we just can't believe black folks influence black folks. And that's what the problem is, brother. The self-hate. That's what it is.
And see, the crux of the argument is this. The reason why the whole argument of Sumer being older than Kemet is not really about Sumer. It's really about reestablishing the primacy of the biblical chronology. That's really what it's about. Because if I could convince you that civilization started in the so-called Middle East or Western Asia, then that means that I can begin to convince you of the Garden of Eden being between the Tigris Euphrates River. That's really what it's about. Okay, so the Sumeria argument is really an indirect argument because especially in the late 1700s, early 1800s, when the field of Egyptology became lucrative amongst Europeans, they quickly realized that this Black civilization, or this African civilization, predates the chronology that they had established for the Bible. Okay, so if we go to James Ussher, a bishop of the 16th century, he did biblical calculations and established that the Genesis day 1 begins in 4004 BCE at 9 o'clock in the morning. All right. So once the French and other Europeans begin to study Kemet, late 1700s, early 1800s, and even going into the mid 1800s, and they started calculating based on the primary records, the primary documentation, that things such as what you might talk about, the primary sources. They're starting to come up with dates for the first dynasty of Kemet, 4500 BCE. They're coming up with 5700 BCE. They're reading Manetho's works. They're reading the Polemarol stone. They're reading the records in Seti the First tomb, the Karnak chronology, etc. And it predates 4004 BCE. So that creates an issue for the Europeans who are biblically centered.
Hey, repeat that last part about the 4400 BC, brother. Say that again, brother.
Okay, there was a bishop by the name of James Ussher, okay, in the 16th century, i.e. the 1500s. And he did a calculation of the Bible, his own calculation of the biblical chronology based on the Bereshith or Genesis. He came up with 4004 BCE, 9 o'clock in the morning. Okay. This is the basis of the Hebrew Israelites argument, whether they know it or not. Okay. And again, you can look this up. James Ussher, U-S is two S's, U-S-S-H-E-R, James Ussher. Okay. He was a bishop. So this belief was amongst Europeans and other adherents to the biblical Quranic paradigm. So once they went into Kemet and began dealing with the primary documentation, the monuments, the records, then it really blew that out the water. It becomes a problem now. So nowadays, they'll make a scholastic argument trying to reestablish the supremacy because it's no longer viable. Because African civilization has demonstrated that these assertions that the Bible predates what's going on in Africa is ludicrous. Okay, the game is over. So the arguments that our brothers are making, these are obsolete arguments that have already been destroyed long time ago. They're making arguments that have been dealt with even in the 1800s. They're making outdated arguments. And I would say to our Hebrew brothers that it doesn't make you less of a Hebrew. Brothers, it's okay. Kemet predated the Hebrews. It's okay. You can still worship Yahweh. Okay. You can still follow the commandments as established by your legendary leader, Moshe. Okay. We're not coming after you, telling you to stop. Hey, do your thing. Okay. You can still be a Hebrew or Israeli, however way you want to define yourself. But when it comes to primary documentation, you're going to have to concede to evidence. Otherwise, you're going to keep having these arguments. You're going to keep losing because you're taking unsubstantiated information and try to put that up against evidence. It does not work. So as I'm hearing my brother saying that Amun-Ra comes from the Hindus, where is your analysis? Okay. First, does the word, let's even go to the word Amun, because remember, Amun-Ra is a composite deity. So you got to do etymologies on the two words first and foremost. All right. Now, I didn't hear the entire discussion, and I'm not sure if he discussed it or not. I won't discount it. I don't know. You have more information than I do.
No, he didn't. He just said that he came from Hindus and Babylon.
Yeah, I'm not hearing him say in the Hindu record it says this, and here's the name of that record.
Exactly. That's what I
didn't hear him say that the word Amun, that the Middle Egyptian word Amun, is rooted in this word here, and we can go into the Sanskrit, and this is the same word. I didn't hear that. Okay, I'm not sure if he said it.
Nope, he never said that.
All right, I didn't hear any of that discussion. Now we can go into Africa. We could demonstrate in the Shaluba language, which is in the Congo, that the word Amun is also in Wene. Okay, and it means something like to reveal. We can also go into Mbochi language and go into Amoni, and it means to see or eyes. All right, and this also can tell us why Amun is a sun deity. So when you go to like semantic mapping, to see, reveal, light, sun, these things are connected. It makes sense. It only makes sense in the context of African culture and language. And this is done very easily and simply. But when you deal with this other thing like the Hindu, this is Indo-European. You got to do all these acrobats and do as our brother did. Can't handle basic critical, like I'm gonna call it pre-critical thinking. We're not even getting into the critical thinking. He obviously couldn't handle it, so he gets off. I was trying to get in there and have a conversation with our brother before he got off, because I was hearing him say, "I'm about to get off." I'm like, "Oh man,"
because he couldn't prove. You see, what happened is, when you're a Bible believer, it's hard to critically think. And I'm saying to him, I say, "You're my brother, and as much as I know, I just refuted and debunked all your information about Sumer, and show you where the term Mesopotamia was used and why southern Mesopotamia, which is Sumer, was never considered a part of Mesopotamia originally until 1st century BC. I mean, I'm showing him the timelines and showing him that, hey, listen, you're saying Sumer. I showed him the Metropolitan Museum map, showing that Sumer was not habitable until 6200 BCE because it was a swamp, and you had to bring raw materials into Sumer, and that's what I'm showing him. So I said, and then I showed him artifacts. I showed him Afad 23, 15,000 years ago. I showed him Fred Wendell's work 11,000 years ago in the south of the border of southern Egypt and Sudan. Showed him how they built up. They had water wells. They had everything. They had, what I'm saying, to show that Egypt predated this region. So how is it now? He's not going to accept that. Then he's going to bring some Masonic book, and the Masonic book is the truth. So I said, okay, if it's the truth, what is the source for what this person is saying? Bring the truth out. And then we go from there.
Now, I heard something about Albert Pike. Now, did you bring Albert Pike up, or did he bring up Albert Pike?
He brought up Albert Pike. I asked him, what is a primary source? And he said Albert Pike. And that's when I had to bring out the definition of what a primary source is to show him. Yeah, because I'm trying to help the brother how to research. I'm not trying to argue and all this craziness. I'm just trying to show the brother how to research. That's it.
And you know what? And check this out. See, this, and I hope more of our Hebrew brothers and sisters of the Hebrew faith are listening to this, or will listen to this in the near future. Okay. Again, if you want to do that, if that is your faith, fine. If you want to research in that area, good. We need as many people, Black people or African people, whichever term you want to use. You can say more, whatever makes you happy. Okay. We need more people researching these areas, but you have to do it correctly. Great. We need people researching the area now called Mesopotamia, the history of that region. But you need to actually know how to research. We need people going into the Hebrew language and the Canaanite language, research and pulling up primary documentation to help put together the African involvement in world affairs throughout history. We need that. Brothers, we need y'all to do this research, okay? But you can't be frivolous with it. You need to be tight. Okay. Now, I am not an adherent of the Hebrew faith, nor am I a promoter of it. Okay. But, you know, I can't convince you to, you know, come home directly into Africa. So if you're going to do that, you need to tighten up your shit. Okay. Stop coming with these frivolous arguments. Talk about comes from the Hindu. Who says that? You're wasting your time. While you're sitting there and dealing with fantasies, frivolous ideas and beliefs, the world is moving on past you, making arguments from the 1800s as if you found something new. You sound foolish. Step your game up. Study the Hebrew language. Study the Canaanite language. Stop saying that Egyptian comes from the Hebrew. Like, stop that. Okay? Hebrew comes from Canaanite, point blank. Deal with it. It doesn't make you less of a Hebrew. It doesn't mean you can't practice the 613 laws. Do your thing. You need to be tight. If you're going to be a researcher, if you're going to get into these conversations, you need to research. And it's okay if someone who deals with Kemet, if let's just say if I'm teaching you how to do research, you know, take your ego out of it. Because a lot of times they're like, okay, well, I can't learn how to do this from you because you're a Dagger Squad and you're against. No, stop that shit. Okay, get over it.
All right, hold on a second.
You need to learn how to research.
Hold on a second, Sanjay. We got a guest on.
Yes,
the brother in the chat came on. I don't know his real name, but go ahead, brother. You had something to say. Go ahead. Unmute your mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something because you guys, you didn't let. I'm with Judah on this. So just from the get-go, you know where I'm coming from. You guys didn't give him a chance. I know what he's trying to say. I can kind of explain it, not better, but just maybe in a way that maybe you'll understand. So
go ahead. Let me hear what you got to say.
All right,
go ahead, brother.
The different Egyptian gods are pretty much, they have characteristics in common with other countries' gods that they worshipped.
Okay.
Can we agree on that at least? Even modern interpretations of those gods exist today. Like you have Jesus, who he's attributed.
I get what you're saying. I don't think that's what he's saying. He's saying that they come from that Egypt copied them. That's what he's saying, brother.
That's a misconception. They didn't come from. They're similar. They're very, very similar, which is why they might have come from a source. But the problem with that is they didn't directly come from India. Different theories exist, but they have a distinct similarity because they kind of have the same mindset, if you will. In India, you actually have temples that are built like pyramids. And I can show you this. It's actually really interesting. But there are different kinds of pyramids all over the world. And different gods are going to be the same because the mindset is the same. Maybe not language, maybe not culture, but mindset and approach to religion. I do comparative studies of different religions, so I kind of know a little bit.
Well, let me say this. Similarity is not equivalent to sameness, and similarity is not equivalent to origin and coming in one direction or the other. That should not be assumed.
Yes.
Number two, okay. Deities in any culture are reflective of the psychology of the people. Every culture has a war god, for example. So in Kemet, you may have, the deity Montu, right? Amun is also a war god as well. The Canaanites, or the people in that area, had a war deity, right? Yahweh is a war deity as well. Shaddai is a war deity coming from the Canaanite pantheon. Everybody has a war deity, but that's not a good way to make an argument because they're similar. Now I can say that, well, Amun, Ra, comes from the Hindus, because in research, you have to demonstrate through primary records. So when I'm having a conversation, I really wish the brother was on the line, because I would say, well, linguistically, can you demonstrate this? Well, the answer is going to be no. I can tell you that now, but I'm going to ask him.
Although, hold up, I do want to address that because that is my area of expertise. Have you ever heard of the word karast?
I have. Go ahead, explain.
When words change, they change because people, you know how the game of telephone works? You say something and then at the end of the line, it's completely different. Something can start out one way, sounding one way, or being written one way, and then by the time it gets somewhere else, it's completely different. So the word karast, if you do a similar thing with that, you will get eventually down to Krishna. It does sound somewhat similar. So where it came from doesn't really matter, because if it has a similarity, then you can say that there is something, the two do have something in common. Can we agree on that?
Based on the information that you just gave, I can't agree automatically, because you didn't actually give me anything. You just said it sounds similar, but since you said language is your area of expertise, we know in linguistics, similarity is not substantiated enough. You have to demonstrate that the two words in question share form and meaning. Okay, form and meaning. And again, there's something we always have to remember. So you have to give the meaning of Krishna, then you have to give the meaning of Christos and the others, and then demonstrate what is the meaning of these words. And then to further the discussion, are there records that say that these two groups of people were in contact at one point or another in history? So
we
do deal with. So what is the meaning of Krishna and the other words that you?
I can handle that right now. It's really easy because Krishna means black, like dark skin. And the thing is, the Nile River, if you look at it, the mud on the banks of the Nile River, when it overflows, it's dark. It's very dark and black. So the similarity is there because the whole idea of blackness isn't seen as negative. It's actually seen as like a positive thing. So it doesn't surprise me that two civilizations that both have holy rivers would have other ideas in common as well. Like, in Egypt, it's the Nile. In India, it's the Ganges or the Ganga. And, look at other things too. Like I said, the pyramids. Pagan cultures usually do have similarities, not just in having more than one god, but in their other aspects as well, like how they worship.
Okay. Yeah, understood. Let's go back. You said Krishna. You said that Krishna means black. Okay, we understand that coming from India, and then you went to the Nile, and you said the soil, or what we would call the soot, after the flood or the annual inundation becomes black. How did you connect the word Krishna coming all the way from India with the black soil in Kemet?
Because they both have to do with extreme fertility. Because if you look at Krishna, he was reputed to have many women that he hung around with. So we can only assume that he was having sex with them. So that's a great deal of fertility. So you can see how in some ways, even if that's not the main focus, there can still be elements of there could be elements that are secondary but still important to a certain quote unquote God, if you will.
Okay, understood. I'm still asking, how did you, aside from you saying similarity of black, but in linguistics, see,
well,
you're
actually,
not really
I'm gonna find that for you because I do have a good source, and it's not like I'm not pulling out any books, but
no, that's fine. We're just reasoning. Hold on. We're just reasoning. We're just reasoning.
Let me say this before Sanjay to respond. Why is it that you are more reasonable and you're actually answering instead of what Judah was doing? Judah was being defensive.
I just have I have a very different style, and I'm not saying I'm right.
But the thing is, you understood the question. He's coming in here saying, "I am right. I am right. I am right."
That's a difference. That's a difference of style, and I can't really say much because I'm kind of friends with Judah. I kind of consider him to be a source of inspiration. So I can't really call it. I can't say he's doing anything wrong. I'm just saying I have a very different style. I have a very different approach to dealing with people, and I don't really. That's all.
All right, that's fine. I think that there needs to be more study in linguistics, on your part. And again, this is not to insult. I'm not trying to insult. But again, as I was saying earlier, we have to be thorough. So I understand that you're looking for these connections, right? But that, like, if I made that argument and I was standing in an auditorium of linguists and historians, okay, I would get booed off the stage. Okay. And again, I'm not trying to play you out, but I need to be real with this. You would need to demonstrate that the word for black or soil in the culture that gave birth to Krishna is the same word as black or soil in Kemet. You will have a better argument. Okay. What is the word for black in the Egyptian language that refers to the black soil?
I can actually get to that, but what I have right in front of me is I have
hold on.
Let's do one thing at a time. Hold on,
brother.
No,
if you don't know, do like what I said. I knew a lot of things that he said about the Ennead. I didn't feel like trying to remember different names, Shu and Tefnut and all that craziness. I just said I don't know. So if you say I don't know now, you don't have to be backtracking and look like being defensive. Just say, brother, I don't know at this time. And that's the problem. I gotta say this out loud with our community. We can't just say I don't know. That's all. Just say that.
I haven't studied Egyptian, so I don't know.
Okay.
I'll admit that.
All right, now let's get focused. Hold on, let's get focused. All right. Now, as we're going through these steps, brother. Actually, I don't know if you are a brother or not because I didn't see your face, but
I'm not at all. I just follow Hebrew customs, but I'm not a brother in terms of being a quote unquote black. So
okay, all right, that's fine. Now let's go through the step by step. What is now again? If you don't know, please say so. It's okay. I'm not going to be like, haha, I'm not going to do that. All right. What would be the word for black or black soil in the Egyptian language?
I don't know it off the top of my head, but if I can look it up, then maybe I can get back with you. Although I don't think it's
fine. Okay, that's fine. Now, what is the word for black or soil in Hindi and or Sanskrit?
That's exactly what I have right in front of me. I'm going to find it right now. And it's just so you're aware of what I'm using. It's the Practical Sanskrit English Dictionary, written by Vaman Shivaram Apte from 1858 to 1892. I guess that's when he was born and died, but it's the revised, enlarged edition of Prin V.S. Apte's dictionary. So I'm going to see what black is. And, oh, here we go. You can even see Krishna in it, but it's Akrishna. Akrishna, the spotless moon. I'm just going to click it. Not black, white, pure, the spotless moon, virtuous, free from black deeds, innocent. So that's the opposite. Is always the opposite of something. So you can see Krishna is there and it means black. So I'm sure if I scrolled down, I'd see other examples, but that just makes the point that I was trying to make.
Okay, now I'm going to look something up as well. So I'm actually going to use a database. Now let's understand, since, you know, again, we both deal with languages, that Hindi and Sanskrit are classified as Indo-European, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, Egyptian or Kemetic, all right? The most updated classification of that is called Negro Egyptian in French, or Negro Egyptian. It's a language family. Okay.
Were you waiting for me to say something?
Sanjay, you finished? Sanjay, you still there, brother? So let me ask you this, though, young guy. Let me ask you this: if so, you're saying that there are similar things in other cultures that are in Egypt, but you're not saying that Egyptians got it from that culture. Am I correct?
I'm not saying they got it from there, because I don't think they had any contact with each other. I believe they have a similarity, which, if you exclude the possibility of there being contact, then there has to be an extraordinary reason for it, and I can go into why that is. But
you just killed Judah Natsar's point. He's saying they got it from them. He just quoted in the back, Hindu Kush.
I understand. Well, yeah, there are people.
That's pseudo, man. That's a.
I'm saying it comes with a similar spiritual.
Oh, okay.
Similar spiritual underpinning to it. So whether or not it comes from it or not isn't really a big or important deal. The thing is,
I'm gonna give you a quick example. I'm gonna cut you off and give you a quick example.
Okay.
With a script, right? The people from the Mayan culture came up with a script around the same time as Sumer and Egypt. So they're saying, how could the people all the way over here in the Americas come up with a script around the same time period without any contact? So that's how they realized that people could independently come up with their own script. They don't have to say, I got it from you, or you got it from me, and I was first, and so forth. You know, it's just like the whole thing with the ways of Horus, or with the tradition of trade with Egypt. Sumer never directly traded with Egypt. It never happened. There's no evidence of that. But there's evidence of Egypt going to Palestine. There's evidence of Egypt going to North Syria near Ebla, where there was a place where they used to trade. So we have proof of how Egyptian products got to Sumeria. We have proof of that. We can prove that. And the products that they make has direct roots to Egypt. And I read it from the book by Alicia Meza that shows the materials for the cylinder seals that the Sumerians made came from Egypt. Had 6 different materials. Plus they got gold that's rooted in Egypt, came from Egypt, is ended up in Sumeria. How? They had trade. So if you find 1 and 2 things in Egypt that's similar, they probably got it and came back and brought it back or something. It's not impossible, and it's not a bad thing. But to just outright say that Sumer predates Egypt and all these gods come from Sumer or now they come from India, and that your source is Albert Pike is irresponsible. I can't allow people to come on my channel and say that without accountability. That's my problem. You can't. You have to show evidence or show some sort of, even if somebody quotes it in a book that's written yesterday. If you wrote a book yesterday and said that India is the influence of Egypt, I would have to ask you your methodology. I would have to ask you how you got to that conclusion, and I would have to ask you what's your primary source. We would have to at least use a historical method. We'd have to let's go back to basic. We in prep school or in high school, when our teachers would say, let's look at the historical evidence, the archaeological evidence, the external evidence, and go from there. Don't tell me some Bible said something and it's true. I don't deal with that, because we could find writing similar to the Bible. If you want to get down to that, we could do that and say, oh, the Bible got this from here. We could play that game too. But I'm saying to be responsible, and my name is Garfield, and I'm from the Dagger Squad, and we don't deal with no form of pseudo information. We don't deal with that. So I'm telling everybody that's listening, if you don't have evidence, don't say it. Be responsible to the people that's listening to you. Be responsible. I accepted his information about what you call it. Hold on 1 second. Oh, somebody put that y'all believe Greek scholars, which is from the white man. Now let me ask you a question. Is Albert Pike a white man that he quoted? You see, Ira, Yah, Israel, you see how biased and ignorant you are? Is Albert Pike and who he quoted from Freemasonry black people? We have to stop the biased scholarship, man, and grow up. This is what I'm trying to tell Judah. You brought up a good point, but let's start dealing with this like mature people. I smashed your hole. Oh, so now I'm a Mason, brother? Garfield is a Mason too?
You know, I don't believe in calling people things that they aren't, but you know,
it's a shame, man. One of his people is saying that we use white people, right? So now, if white people, Albert Pike is a black guy. I didn't know Albert Pike was black.
He is a white guy, and but the thing is, he's dealing with an interpretation of what you would call an Egyptian belief system. He took it and he spun it in his own way. That's what Freemasonry is. It's basically taking other people's ideas and then spinning it. And when you look at that, you're looking at a modern manifestation of those things, which they're not perfectly the same, but they're similar. So when you look at one, you kind of see a little bit of the other.
Yeah, with the whole Masonry thing, I don't get into the whole conspiracy theory. If you want to go down that pipeline, everything is a conspiracy, and the Most High will save you.
No, I don't. No,
you know, I'm just saying. I'm just talking to the chat. But the whole problem is, even if the Masons were in charge, what does that say about your Bible? Who printed it then? If the Masons in charge of everything.
The thing with the Bible is that
Judah is not that Albert Pike is a scholar or not. We need his source. That's what we need. You need to do root scholarship, brah. Stop taking things on the face. Learn how to research. That's why you actually got smashed. When you listen to back to the tape, you got smashed real hard, bro. And I wasn't even screaming at you. I actually gave you a lesson. Go back and listen to the recording today, and you'll see how much you got really smashed. You got to learn how to research, bro. You have to learn how to research. Anyway, go ahead, my brother. Continue.
Well, anyway, what the real thing that matters is that Hebrews are against Egyptians. It's always going to be that way as long as the two groups exist. The reason is because most of what Hebrews do is antithetical to what Egyptians believe. Egyptians worship different animals as gods, and the Hebrews sacrifice those animals. So
okay, you know what? I disagree with you, but I'm gonna ask you this: have you ever read the book Israel's Debt to Egypt?
No, I have not.
All right,
but I've read ideas that I think
I have a group called Hebrew Israelite versus Kemetic Science. Has the Bible been plagiarized from Egypt? I want you to check that. In that group, we have like about 100 books. There's a book called Israel's Debt to Egypt. Everybody needs to read that book. Now, you know Passover, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Passover? Do you know what an apotropaic rite is? Apotropaic. Do you know what that is? All right.
I'm going to let you tell me.
All right. Apotropaic rite has to do with the god Bes, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put him on the home to let the death angel pass over their house. What does that sound like?
Sounds like when they put the blood on the door frame, although the blood on the door frame has a different significance.
Right, and it's a marker, but it's also to say the death angel will pass over that area because the people who are the believers, the Israelites, are to be protected. So the death angel would pass over the house. So what the book is Israel's Death to Egypt is saying.
He's dealing with. Sorry, Garfield. I'm just gonna say hi to my buddies that just jumped in.
Mute your mic real quick, brother, because you're listening in the background, and then what you call it. So you got to stop where you listen to the background. Then you could unmute him. All right. But go ahead, continue.
Mm-hmm. Shalom, Akim. How you guys doing? So
we don't follow Albert Blight, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, excuse me. Hold on, brother. You're not gonna come in here. Hold on. You're not gonna come in here and jump in.
We can do this sort of civilized, you know.
Scholar comes from the Greek.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do this somewhat civilized. We don't need that.
All right.
Exactly. Sanjay, your connection is good.
Yeah. My phone had died, so yeah.
All right, cool. You could. But before you jump in, let me just say that if you read Israel's Debt to Egypt, that book, it's just a booklet. It's like 5 pages.
Yeah, that's a good book.
You'll see they talk about the death angel and the god get best on the mark. And then when he's saying that, if he's just giving a hypothesis, basically saying if they were in Egypt, these are some things they could have picked up while they were in Egypt, which is a logical. I'm not saying he's 100% right, because I actually go a different direction with Passover. I could show through the Zuku festival and all that stuff in the Mari text. I would go that route. I wouldn't go to the twofold house, because there's a twofold argument. They got some of it from Egypt. They got some of it from Canaan when they went in that area. I say they got it from the Arameans up top in northern Syria. That's what I say. You know, I follow the Zuku text and say that you could tell just by the rituals that they follow that they got it. I would say they got it directly from those people. All right. But anyway, with Passover, we know the significance of it. What I would say is, when the Hebrews talk about Tacitus, this is an argument that I'm going to bring up soon, and I always bring it up anyway. When they ask Tacitus about the tradition of Jews and where they came from, it seems like Tacitus is unaware of the Exodus story. He doesn't know the Exodus story. So he gives 5 different ways how Judeans or Jews got to where they are today. And this was the 2nd century AD. He said that a lot of people say that they were Ethiopians. A lot of people say that they come from the Greeks and the Crete area. A lot of people say that he said the main one that everybody follows is the one that the Judeans were kicked out of Egypt by the pharaoh or the king called Baccharis. And this was in the 8th century or 7th century BCE. Now that story is repeated by Hectaeus of Abdera 4 centuries later or 3 centuries later, 4th century BCE. And that story is kind of remixed by Manetho in a sense. And it's pretty much the same story. They got exiled out of Egypt around the 7th century BCE. Now that's 700 years after the so-called Exodus supposedly happened. But this is what the historians are recording that they hear from the Judeans. So for me now, I would have to ask the question, where did these people come from? And how is it that the authors and the people don't know? They don't know. And that they come from Ethiopia or whatever. That was the 5th one. So how comes they don't know where they come from? You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you and Sanjay could continue.
Yeah. Here's a point I want to make.
I got it.
All right, here's the point I want to make about research.
Hey, hold on, Sanjay, hold on 1 second. This gentleman had come in right before you came in, and he wanted to say something. Go ahead, Joshua. Go ahead, my brother.
All right. I don't mean no disrespect or nothing, but I feel like I wasn't getting any kind of questions answered in the chat. So I just want to ask y'all, you know what I'm saying, live, because what I wanted to ask was, whenever Judah was asked to come on the show, was he informed that he was going to have physical books with him in order to back up his claims, or was that something that he was supposed to know already? Because I was confused about that, because it seems, hold up, because it seems like, you know what I'm saying, if it was about reasoning, right? Because I see the other brother, he's like, we're reasoning. So if that's something that, you know, if reasoning should have been what was brought out, then why didn't you just say, all right, if you don't have the book or whatever that you was asking Judah for, why didn't you just say, hey, let's reason then?
Okay.
Instead of just being, you see what I'm saying?
Very good question.
Well,
very good call. Hold on, Sanjay. The reason is he brought up the whole issue that Herodotus said something, and I asked him for the source. So he's saying that Egyptian women on a whole slept with goats, which is actually not what Herodotus said. He spoke about one woman who slept with a goat. So now he does throw all the women in Egypt under the table. That's like me saying all Israelite women slept with other Israelite women. That's not right. That's not fair. So that's why I asked for a source. Now, as far as the other information on my channel, I don't deal with hearsay or just what you call hearsay scholarship. I deal with primary sources. And the problem with Judah is Judah came out and said that he smashed me after he brought up the Herodotus situation. So when he did that, I brought it out that, hey, I could prove Sumer didn't even exist 6000 BC. And I showed it. Then he said, why do we trust white people? And the whole time he's quoting Albert Pike's Freemasonry book. That's a contradiction. Albert Pike is not black. And you see my brother went on and showed us the Albert Pike's picture. Peace to the brother, man. But the point is, brother, he came on in an argumentative, well, I don't know if he came on an argument. We was just dialoguing, and he brought up something and I brought up something. Nothing was planned. But that's still my brother.
Right. I hear what you're saying, but my point is that it's like, okay, so if you didn't have, you posted that you was like, yeah, I can prove Sumeria, whatnot. So you posted the picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but before he even got on the show, did he know that he was just going to have stuff to just post? You know what I'm saying? Like that's my point. That's my point.
Joshua, hold on. You see, the problem is Judah is always in debate mode. He's ready to debate. I'm not debating the brother. I'm just bringing up a position that he probably is not aware of. So for him to bring up Egypt now, Egypt comes from India. Even if you don't have a source, at least give us something to go by that is scholarly, not just some guy wrote something in a book. That's not scholarship. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he should have, you know, Kemet were Hindus, bro. See, look at that. He's still saying it in the chat. He's saying Kemet were Hindus. But when I ask for a source, He don't have nothing to back it up. So what should he have done now? Shut up until you have a source. But because we are playing to the crowd instead of trying to uplift our people mentally, so that's what it's all about with Judah, it seems. It seems it's about pleasing the people to say, I smashed you. I basically just killed this whole argument that Sumer predates Kemet. I killed it. I showed him proof that 523 was 15,000 years ago. I showed him proof 11,000 years ago in Egypt, southern Egypt. I showed him proof that. If he accepts it, he don't have to, but he runs and said it's white scholarship, but yet still Albert Pike, that white man, is who he's going by. That's his God. So when I asked him what a primary source is, he said Albert Pike. That's when I know he doesn't know how to research. So he revealed himself to me.
Right,
He
right.
doesn't know how to research. But as you said, nothing is scripted on my show, brother. Nothing is scripted. We ask anybody if he asked. You see, he asked me about the Egyptian Enid and the gods of Egypt. I don't remember them off the top of my head, so I just said I don't know. I could have easily Googled and found it out. I could have gone to one of my books and just open it up and look at it. I could have gone to T.D. Kilimanjaro's book and just open it up and just say, hey, here we go right here. But I just said I don't know because just to carry the conversation on. You understand what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with me saying I don't know. Just say I don't know, brother. I don't have the primary. But because we're not humble, we claim we follow Torah, but we're not humble. We can't say I don't know. We got to always come back with something and change the argument to try to win. It's all about I want to win. I just beat the hell out of him a while ago. Beat the hell out of him. But he's going to say, I win. I win. It's not about that. And I told him that. I don't mean to do this to you, brother, but you need to understand this is incorrect. That's why. So his information is better than the Metropolitan Museum. That's what he's telling me.
But that's what I'm saying is that even if he was to say, even if the premise was that his information is better than the Metropolitan Museum, but who is the Metropolitan Museum? Like, for instance, what is the Metropolitan Museum to you?
The Metropolitan Museum deal with primary sources.
But where did you learn that was primary sources though?
Oh, so you're saying that I learned it from the white man. Do you know what a primary source is?
No, I ain't
brother?
saying that. I didn't say that. I asked you a question.
Do you know what a primary source is?
I asked you a question though.
How do I know what a primary source is?
Now you're moving around.
Hold on. What is a museum, brother?
I asked you a question though, bro.
A museum holds artifacts. That's primary sources.
See, now you're doing the same thing to me.
The question.
I asked you a question, simple question.
I answered it. I told you museums hold primary facts. That's why Brother Reggie from the House of Consciousness does the tours down there. Okay, he does tours to show people primary sources.
Okay, since you answered that, let me continue then. I asked you the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what in your mind says to you that because Judah said that he isn't holding information? What makes the Metropolitan Museum more of a reliable source than your own brother?
Brother, have a good day, man. Joshua, peace and blessings, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Peace and blessings.
All right.
I don't have time for idiots.
Yeah, I put 2 books on the side, the group chat part on the side. Hopefully the people on the panel and listeners can maybe see it. I'm not sure. I put in there "When We Rule" by Robert Walker, 2011. Highly recommend it because he actually deals with the question of chronology in that work. He goes into a lot of details, and also put "African Origin Civilization" by Shekhinta Diop. He deals with this question of the so-called Asian origin of African civilization. He deals with that in that book. And I highly recommend that before people come on shows or get in public discussions, that they actually read the works of people who dealt with the topic. Because see, when you deal with research, you start off with a question. Okay? And then from there, you have to do review of sources of people who dealt with the topic or in the field. So you have to do literature review. So people are claiming they're researching, they're not doing that because they're not doing literature review. Okay, now to the gentleman, I'm not sure what the name is, Negi, Springfield. All right. See, a lot of people are always looking for links between, you know, Egyptians and Hebrews. I mean, that's okay. But we deal with the African, with Kemet as an African civilization because that's what it is. Yeah. And we do this from using the Afrocentric method. And in the Afrocentric method, this posits that African people are agents of their own reality. See? So the connections have already been established. It's not rocket science. But people keep us in these conversations because it keeps the biblical paradigm in the center of the discussion. We're looking at Kemet in its proper context. See, what is the relationship between the Congo and Kemet? That's what we're concerned about. What is the relationship between Kemet and, let's just say, Sudan? What is the relationship between the Chadic civilizations, or what they call Saharan aquatic civilizations, and Kemet? That's what we're dealing with. So when people come in and talk about the Hebrew or Egyptian connections, you know, or just as, you know, he said here on the side, Egypt was not only the successful civilization in Africa, there was a Yoruba empire. We know this already. Okay? But Yoruba is not the topic of discussion. We're talking about Kemet. And nobody said that Kemet was the only one. So you're actually making a frivolous argument. And you're more than welcome to unmute your mic and actually speak to me directly.
I was actually waiting for that. I didn't exactly want to interrupt you. I'm trying to do this somewhat politely. It's just a lot of people focus on Egypt because they were the biggest. They had a lot of different dealings with other nations, other countries, I guess you could call them, but they got to be the one that everyone thinks about when you think of Africa, because Africa, no other country really had the same level of sophistication other than, say, maybe a couple others. And I've studied this stuff.
Be specific.
Other than the Yoruba, I can't think of any other that really had a similar sophistication.
Okay, you have Munubutapa, you have that civilization. You have let's say the Oyo Kingdom, since we're talking about the Yoruba. You have the Oyo Kingdom. You have the Benin Kingdom. You have the Ghana Empire, or we should really say the Wagadu Empire. All right. You have the Songhai Empire. You have that as well. All right. You have the Mali Empire, which was started by the Malinke people in West Africa. You have Kenem-Bornu in Central Africa around Chad. All right. You have the great civilization of Zimbabwe. These are great civilizations. So no, we don't only think that Kemet is the only successful civilization in Africa. And to be frank, you know, that actually means that you haven't really been in these discussions with people with African-centered people. Okay, or people who are educated in African history, because there's no one here that actually thinks that Kemet is the only successful civilization in Africa. Nobody thinks that. Not around here, anyway.
And that's good. I'm very glad you said that. I'm very glad you mentioned all those different others, because there are some very good things in Africa. It's not a bad continent. It's just, do you know of any names for that region that isn't called Africa? Because Africa isn't what it was ever called by the natives before modern times.
There is claims of Alkebulan, but I'm not going to use that because I haven't seen substantial evidence for it. However, African, you know, we have not named the entire continent in such fashion because there was no need to do such. Naming whole continents the way we have it today, this comes about because of European colonialism and white supremacist political aggression. That's where it comes about, because they were trying to classify other groups of people and objectify in manner of dehumanized objectification. So we have proposals of naming the continent ourselves. We have that. some proposals. But however, right now we're going to go with Africa, and we're going to stick to the point. And again, you mentioned other civilizations in Africa besides Kemet, and we have these things. We have this information. However, we African people study Kemet in its African context. These civilizations, like the Nok civilization, for example, definitely going back past 1000 BCE, has a relationship to Kemet. All these civilizations have relationships with each other via a common origin, through trade, etc. So, you know, we African people don't separate them out in such manner. And just to go to an earlier point, the connection between Egypt and the Hebrews is minor compared to the relationship and proven links between Kemet and other civilizations and cultures in Africa. So the Hebrew link is minor, honestly, very mediocre comparison to when we deal with Africa as a whole.
Well, I'm very glad you said that, because I have a question for you, and the question is, how many different royal lines were in Africa? Because I've heard people say, both seriously and not seriously, that Africa had a lot of royalty. I'm just using the continent name so you know what I'm talking about. But
that's fine.
They had a lot of royalty scattered throughout the continent. So is there any, like, can we trace any of these lines back? Say, if someone wanted to know which one they came from, could they do so?
Well, can you be specific? Because what you're asking is kind of ambiguous, but I'll say this. To say that there's a lot of royal lines, I mean, that's very an unquantitative term.
Okay, I'll be a little bit more clear. People like to claim that their descendants were kings and queens. You probably heard this.
It could be okay. Let's try this. You're saying that Black people, African Americans, always say that they come from kings and queens. Is that correct?
Or that, in my experience, has been the case, and I'm just trying to see if there's any way you can either prove it or show that it isn't provable in any real sense.
Okay. In this discussion, we also have to remember that you know, people of now I'm going to assume that you are European descent. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. I'll be honest with you. I believe I have roots in Germany, so I absolutely have it pretty bad. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, that's subjective, but okay. So you're European. Gotcha. All right. So, so your ancestors and contemporaries have made a concerted effort to erase the historical memory of African people. Okay. And they've had a level of success because it was in their interest to do so. Now, when African people in the diaspora begin to learn our history, and we learned about kings and queens, which we were told by your ancestors and contemporaries that we don't have civilization. We are subhuman and all these other negative caricatures. So once we find this out, we then say we come from kings and queens. I don't blame them for saying that. They have every right to say it because it has a level of truism with it. However, they may not mention that we also have artisans, we have scientists, we have artists, we have lawyers, carpenters, lawmakers, judges, statesmen, stateswomen as well, beauticians, barbers, business owners, investors. All this we had in Africa for thousands of years and still have them. So they may say kings and queens, and that's fine. But we also have these other professions, you know, agriculturalists, metallurgists. Okay, we have that.
And the reason I brought that up is because if you consider your ancestors to be royalty and you believe in a connection with those ancestors, then wouldn't you carry yourself in a way that reflects that? Unfortunately, you don't see that very often, and you can say many things about why that is, but I'm just someone who I believe in consistency. If you're going to say your ancestors were royalty, then you're going to behave in a way that reflects that.
Well, then you have to define what is the behavior of a royal person, because throughout history, royal people are simply human beings. Okay, so even when you go into Europe, the history of your people, okay, you have royalty who act belligerent. Even if you go to, let's say, England, and you have, let's say, King James, he was a drunkard, a purported child molester, a rebel, and all these things. Remember, they are simply human like the rest of us. Now, if you're saying that, you know, where are the morals and ethics, etc., we have plenty of that in history, and talk about African people now. Plenty of high moral standing women and men and children. We also have that today. Now I don't know where you're looking, you know, to get the idea that they're not acting like royalty. Okay, but again, you have to remember that, you know, we African people have been damaged by your people, and then it becomes appalling for the same people who have damaged us turn around and ask us, where are your morals?
Yeah, I can completely understand that. And the thing is, though, I kind of understand how all these different, you see, because you have like black nationalism, which the idea of that came out of, you know, wanting to feel better about being black, and I understand that. But the problem is that isn't unique. There are other forms of nationalism which had similar reasons for existing, and also had, because have you ever read Social Justice? You know what that is?
No, I do know it's with social, but not as a book. I have not read that.
Well, it's not a book, it's like a concept. It was created by people you probably have heard of in conspiracy theories, but they're real. They're called the Society of Jesus. And they, in Latin America, came up with a concept that would later basically explode, and you see it now more than ever. But social justice as a concept is basically the essence of nationalism. If you take it and you go back to what they all share, all these different, you know, forms of it, you see it there. And it's like, it all sounds very good, but it's built on a premise that isn't so compatible with some of these nationalities. Like Hispanics don't consider themselves to be white. If you're in the Northern American part of the world, they don't consider themselves to be whites. It's just they wouldn't like to take what a white person wrote for their own, you know, people. I mean, you can agree with that, right? You can see where I'm coming from.
All right, here's let's go back to what you mentioned about black nationalism and the statement saying it's not unique. Okay. Like, well, actually, like what is the motivation behind such a statement?
The motivation is just to show where it all comes from, because it all comes from a similar place. And ironically, it comes from a people who have nothing and no reason to ascribe to any one of these, because they just came up with ideas that were used.
Okay, can you be specific, because you're speaking in very ambiguous terms? What people, what place?
Well, specifically, the people would be considered white people, and people that were influenced by white people, because I said Jesuits, and they were the ones who came up with the idea of social justice. It basically spread because of them. They went to every part of the world and they spread those ideas, and then each group took it and gave it their own little unique spin to it. So when it got to the blacks, it was basically part of a big smorgasbord of ideas that all had to do with pride and being black. Like you had black Muslims, you had, even black Hebrews were around at the same time. They all had this idea that it wasn't a bad thing. And I'm not against that. I'm just trying to tell you that in some ways, social justice influenced every single form of nationalism.
Justice in society is a concept that is old as human civilization.
Yes,
African
justice, but not social justice, because I'm talking about something that.
No, I heard everything you said.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm bringing it back full circle. Okay, because terms like that, like Jesuits, etc. Okay, they're coming out of Europe. All these things have to do with global white supremacy. Long story short. Okay, now for Black people or African people being the victims of social oppression and exploitation by white people or European people, naturally, like any other human group, is going to want to get out from under the heel and look at, say, okay, we need nationalism. So no, it's not unique, but it sounds like such seeks to invalidate the movement of Black people from being oppressed to an optimum level of a healthy society. That's what it sounds like to me, based on the words that you used.
Well, one of the things that that could be done is it could be, a real liberation movement would have a different look and feel to it. You can actually look at a liberation movement and you can see if it's genuine and organic. Like if
hold on. How do you make that judgment? That should be a judgment by us, not by you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point. If it's Black people that come up with the idea themselves, then that can be considered Black nationalism in a pure form. But when I can prove that the ideas had origins from different people, then that isn't exactly a very good foundation to have.
Okay. So you're saying that when Black people are looking to liberate themselves from mass incarceration, enslavement, and social oppression, you're saying that idea comes from Jesuits.
In a very indirect way, yes, but they basically took up the idea of militant ways, which, if you look at Latin America, that's really what you have, and that's what most of these liberation movements started out as militant movements.
Well, I would have to respectfully disagree with that, because we have examples throughout African history of people, Black people, pulling themselves up from oppression before, and I'm going to say before the Catholic Church even existed. Of course, because we know the Jesuits would not be in existence if there was no Catholic Church. Okay, so we go to ancient Kemet, and during what's called the end of the Middle Kingdom, as it's called by Egyptologists. Now we're talking between 3000 and 2000 BCE. You had a group of people called the Hyksos or Hyksos, who invaded from Western Asia, and they took over the northern region in Kemet and created what's classified as the 15th dynasty. So they oppressed the native Egyptians, especially in the north, and cut off the native kings in the south from trade in Western Asia and Mediterranean sea trade. And the only way that the southern kings could engage in such, they would have to adhere to the policies of the Hyksos. Okay, so you have an example of the 17th dynasty kings uprising via military, and eventually they defeated the Hyksos and put them out and reestablished their social justice, or justice in their own society that was native to them. So there's examples of this that happens in African history that predates the Catholic Church and especially the Jesuits. You also have, you have the Haitian Revolution in the 1790s. Okay, that has, that's not, the 20th century. We're talking about the 1700s and the 1800s. You have that as well. Natural human behavior is to not be encaged by another group of people. You don't need Jesuits or this ideal of social justice, which is a very ambiguous and a rhetorical, ethically term. You don't need that for human beings to want freedom.
I understand what you mean by that. I got a little question for you though, and I think this is important. In the light of Africa's sophistication, if they're as sophisticated as you say they are, and they've been this way for a long, long time, then why aren't they where everyone is going to get an education? If everyone knew this, that they were the ones that had all the important scientific and whatever other knowledge, why isn't that being tapped into?
That's a very interesting question. So you haven't studied the history of Europe, have you?
Oh, I know Europe. I know they have some very low periods. But go ahead. I just want to hear what you're gonna say.
Well, what I'm saying is, have you studied where Université de Paris or University of Paris, Oxford University, have you studied where they got their knowledge from in order to establish themselves as intellectual centers?
I believe it was from the Arabs who helped preserve many of the Greek writings. They actually kept many of the Greek philosophers from being completely forgotten. So,
okay, so they're getting their knowledge from Moors and Arabs, but primarily Moors, which are, again, this is another term for African people.
Yes, North Africans.
Okay. You have places like the University of Sankore in Timbuktu in modern day Mali. This was an intellectual center in Africa. You have ancient Kemet, that was an intellectual center. You have Kenabornu, which is an intellectual center. You have Gal, Jane. You have these places that are intellectual centers. You have places in Ethiopia that are intellectual centers of the world. Yeah. So people were going there already. And then your ancestors, Europeans, galvanized and gathered this information during colonial periods and when they were destroying African civilization and crippling us, and then establishing themselves as intellectual centers. So now it's funny that the question is asked, why aren't y'all the intellectual centers? Because your ancestors, as well as Arabs, were instrumental in destroying these things and in taking the information away and rewriting history, writing us out of history, and presenting yourselves as if you were the masters. So now this question comes, where is your intellect? We still have the intellect there, but the economic oppression on the part of your ancestors and contemporaries still abounds. So it makes it that much more difficult.
So if it's the fault of my people, why there isn't any?
Hold on a second. I'm gonna keep on for like around another 5 minutes. Then I'm gonna cut off.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to get this out there. If it's the fault of my people that that nobody is going to Africa now, or any of the African peoples, then why hasn't anyone tried to change that? You know, if we took it from you, why can't you take it back in the same way? Why can't you assert yourself in the same way?
I mean, this has already been it's already been done, and it's continues to be done. Shake hand to, we have scientists like Shake hand to Joe. You even have Carter G. Woodson. You have George Washington Carver and Marimba Ani. Countless thousands of African people on the continent. Countless thousands of African people in South America, Central America, Caribbean, North America. That's already been doing this. You know, it's just a matter of you educating yourself on these people, and that actually would change, modify the nature of your questions.
Yeah, I can understand that. It's just, I mean, I have done quite a bit of research, and one of the most interesting sources that I'm sure you've heard of is he was a guy in South Africa.
Go ahead, brother.
He was a guy in South Africa who was a like a shaman or a healer of some sort, and trying to remember his name, but he was famous because of some of the predictions he made. But yeah, this is why I hate having a bad memory. Let me just look it up real quick. He actually did a thing with David Icke. So, Credo Mutwa. Have you ever heard of that guy?
Credo Mutwa, yes.
Yeah, he's not even around anymore. But he's an interesting guy. If you look at the stuff he's done, like interviews and books he's written. But you know, why aren't people like that? You know, why aren't they doing something to set up some kind of school? I mean, yeah, you can say white people are holding those people down, but why aren't they pushing back? Mostly in history, people push back when they're oppressed. They fight, you know, through that.
That's something that's already been done, and it continues to be done. Again, it's just a matter of, you know, it sounds like you're just looking at one person and not really realizing that we have people who have established African-centered schools, you know, here in the United States, in the Caribbean, and in Africa. We have much of that. Now, of course, it's not in the interest.
That's good.
Now, but for those who are racists, white supremacists, and etc., it's not in their interest to, you know, reveal these things, you know, as if there are positives, because they've spent so much time and invested energy and money into destroying these things. So the pushback is there. It's always been there.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because that answers my question somewhat. Yeah, it's just more needs to be done. Maybe if white people are the problem, then maybe we shouldn't allow Africans to come to our schools, because we're just going to be poisoning them with our colonial ideology. That isn't good at all. They need to work on their own people and help them.
Well, I'll actually, because I know Garfield's going to shut down shortly. That's a job I'm going to leave for you to do. Okay, because again, that if you see that as an issue among your own people, then it needs to be more of you working to solve that problem. Okay, amongst yourself. That's not something that, you know, that we can do. That's something we're going to have to do. Okay, and history has proven that. Okay, so we're working on ourselves. All, you know, only thing, and we would say is work on your own morals and ethics and humanity. Okay. And those of you who are considered good white people, then, you know, I'm challenging you. You need to work on the bad white people, because I've never seen a quote unquote good white person. The reason why I'm saying it is because every time something happens to black people, All right, where are all these good white people at? Why aren't they coming out in groups and organizations and in doing fundraisers in order to help blacks without strings attached, or to go to put down the white supremacist groups? They don't do that. So I don't believe in the concept of a good white person, because when it comes time to come in action, they're nowhere to be found. So as far as I'm concerned, the good white person is simply someone who just has a nice conversation with you, or they're the ones that stay in the house when we're getting lynched and bombed and burned and ridiculed. So since they're not physically doing it, that automatically makes them a good white person. That's incorrect. Okay. So if you are one of those good white people, then we need you to work on your people and basically, I would say, stay out of our way. Stop doing things to put a wrench in our progress. Right? Stop making laws that, you know, oppress us. Right? Stop making a culture in the police force that says, let's stop and frisk black people. All right? You're gonna have to work on this cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. That's the funny thing. I agree with you on most of the things you said. I would actually have the police be a fair police, policing force. They wouldn't be attacking or going after one group of people, any group of people. They would be fair.
Yeah, here's the thing. But see, the police force is a symptom.
Of course it is.
That's the end result of a problem. It's a cultural issue. Because your parents' generation and theirs before and your generation, they trained you to have, well, some people call it negrophobia, to fear us. Similar to like if you have a fly in the house, okay? The fly didn't do anything to you, but you automatically think, okay, in order for me to interact with it, I have to kill it. But it didn't do anything to you. So you have this phobia and irrational fear. So what happens when a young white boy learns an irrational fear of black people from his parents, from the culture in which he grows up in privilege? He becomes a police officer. Now he has a weapon. How does he deal with that fear? So the police force is not the source of the problem. It's the end result of the problem. It's a cultural issue among European people. Okay.
And yes, I feel you on that. I just when it comes to the idea, yeah, we got to make it to where that everyone is on a level playing field. It's just, what do you do when there's so many people who already, I personally am not afraid of black people. I'm afraid of people who are an immediate threat, or I think might be, but not black people. I don't go by a single race. I'm just scared of people. I mean, personally, I would never cross the street if a black person was coming at me, because I'm more afraid of cars than I am of black people. I've been hit by a car.
Okay. On that note, Sanjay, do you want to say some last words?
Yeah, so that's it.
For African people study, and stand on my always. Okay. But it's about practice. At the end of the day, it's about practice. And you have to be one in your thought, speech, and action. That's it.
All right. All right. Peace and everybody out there. And Judah, again, learn how to research, brother. Let's get the researching right, and we could have a conversation and learn what a primary source is. All right. And to Ira, I didn't know that Herodotus was a black guy or a Hebrew. I didn't know that. All right. So peace and love, everybody. And that's it. Peace.